5:59. Good morning, live from the Circus Sports of the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. Nashville Predators beat the LA Kings 5-4 in a shootout last night. It took 8 rounds to decide, but Luke Evangelista netted the game winner. The Predators had goals from 4 different players, including Jonathan Marchessault, who tallied an assist as well in the win. Despite the win, though, the Predators did not take over the second wild card spot in the Western Conference playoffs due to the San Jose Sharks win 4-1 last night over the Toronto Maple Leafs. There is a 3-way tie for that spot with the Sharks, Preds, and Kings all sitting at 79 points on the season. 7 games do remain, and the Predators are back at it tomorrow night in San Jose to face those Sharks. 9 o'clock puck drop on the West Coast. In NFL news yesterday, 5-time Pro Bowler cornerback Stephon Gilmore announced his retirement from the NFL yesterday via Instagram after 13 NFL seasons. Gilmore won a Super Bowl back in 2019 with the Patriots and had 32 career interceptions. The women's Final Four gets started tonight on ESPN with the all 1 seeds. UConn takes on South Carolina at 6 o'clock, and then Texas will tip off against UCLA at 8. The championship will be held on Sunday. Tomorrow night, the men's Final Four gets started on TBS with 3-seed Illinois taking on 2-seed UConn at 5:09, and then the top matchup of the night, 1 seeds Michigan versus Arizona at 7:49. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into your Friday morning edition of Ramon and Will. Good morning and welcome as we begin your day and the beginning of your weekend on 104.5 The Zone. 615-737-1045, the number. Ramon Foster waltzing into the studio with cups, which can be a tough search sometime in this building. Justin Hawkins making the show happen. Myself, Will Bowling, at Ramon and Will on Twitter, where you can stream the show on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Your search was successful?
It was successful, man. Walk in with white cups, man. Let's just say hide and seek is a part of our childhood that we never let go of, okay? If somehow the cups upstairs are hidden or not available, I will seek them out in any capacity we have to. And I realize the downstairs kitchen is a little bit more nicer.
A little bit more stocked up.
A little bit more stocked up.
So the money is made downstairs.
That's where all the big dough comes in at, Will. And with that being said, I figured they would replenish them with cups. So you know what I did? I didn't steal them. I just borrowed a few. You know what I'm saying? We're here early.
We can give them back.
We could. Will we? No,
doubtful.
Absolutely not.
Very doubtful.
They're hours.
They're hours now. Yeah, absolutely. On Good Friday,
no, they're minutes.
You know what? In all my years of dry jokes, I've never used that one myself. They're hours. No, they're minutes. You know what I'm saying? Either way, I've never used that one. I like that one. Well, I'm taking that one and use it to embarrass my kids.
Final Four weekend. We've got a lot to get to. If you like college football, this will be a good show for you this morning. I spent a lot of time in a rabbit hole last night that we are going to benefit from here in about 15 minutes.
Okay.
For same faces, new places. I've got one big storyline for every SEC team. I was going to start and just do like the big storylines and like pick the biggest things going on in the conference. And then I was just like, let's just have something on literally all 15 SEC teams not named Tennessee. Because obviously we got Brent Hubs at 7:20. We've got Slay at 9:20. We'll talk plenty of Vols this morning. So one big thing on 15 different SEC teams coming up in about 15 minutes. I'm excited to learn.
I'm willing to learn. I know the biggest thing I think that's happened in the SEC and just my readings of it too is LSU and Lane aren't shying away from the fact that they might have a $40 million roster. So much so that boosters are saying, why does a rebuild have to happen in year one?
Well, that's because Lane says that no one's learned how to do things like not fight in practice.
Oh.
The other day he said, today we didn't have any fights. Yesterday we had 6 fights because no one's learned how to do these things because everyone's come from different places.
Well, you know what, man? You can't cry from the yacht, man. Usually how it goes with that. You know how it is with me and Lane. I have zero sympathy for that. Whatever his riches are down. He was trending also yesterday, too, as far as, I think, tennis courts and people he was dating and stuff, allegedly.
Not dating. People he was playing tennis with on the LSU tennis team who have a lot of followers for being a young, healthy young woman playing tennis.
Healthy young woman.
At Louisiana State University.
That's the best way to say
Be as formal as I can
That
here.
was amazing.
As factual and black and white as I can here.
Bravo.
Yep.
Bravo.
Yep.
What a
Lane
selection of
Kiffin
words.
finds healthy young women to take pictures with on his social media quite frequently if you follow him on social media.
I'm going to leave it just right there. And
ABC, always be Cruton.
Always be Cruton.
Always be Cruton.
Always be Cruton, man.
Yep.
Well, happy Good Friday to you again as well. My youngest yesterday, I'm officially getting to that point, man, where I start counting the years almost.
Yeah.
He had his 8th grade formal last night, and they took pictures on the high school steps and everything yesterday, and I was just like, my baby boy is really growing up.
It's a big moment.
Real big moment, man. I think I won't tell him this out loud, he's in the middle of a growth spurt.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I hit mine was between 8th grade and 9th grade.
I'm seeing it. There's one of his teammates that he took a picture with yesterday that somewhat towered over them. Now they're like head to head. And the biggest barometer for him and our measuring stick in our house is also my wife. And he's now towering over her too. So you called it because I talked to you about this a little bit.
Yeah,
like,
we
man,
did.
we can't wait
Right.
in the growth spurt a little bit. And you was like, oh, I hit mine in between 8th and 9th grade year. And he seems to be well in it right now.
I remember growing like 4 inches between my 8th and 9th grade.
Did you
year.
really?
Like in that summer, yeah.
Mine was 6th to 7th grade.
Shot right up.
Get out. Did you feel like growing pains?
No.
You didn't?
I got
Okay.
a lot better at running, though, because
Did you?
I was covering more ground with every step. And I was, because obviously you listened to the show for the first time. I ran track in Tennessee for 2 years. I was not very good in middle school, but I got really good in high school pretty quickly because I just grew.
Yeah.
And so I went from running my mile pace my 8th grade year was my 2-mile pace my 9th grade year.
Oh, wow.
So I went from running the same thing I could just do in a mile for double the distance just 1 year later.
That's crushing it right there. I was driving by. We were headed to a game the other day, and my youngest track meet, and I saw a bunch of young Will Bowlings running also. They were cross country.
God bless them.
Will.
Cross country's in the fall, but they'd be track right now.
It's track right now. Well, they were on regular roads just running long distances, and
Love that.
I was like,
Love
what
that for them.
in the world?
Love that for them.
Went to my oldest baseball game on Tuesday, okay? And I drive on the campus. It was at Pope campus, and there's a couple of their runners. Will, from the moment I got on campus, and their campus is really hilly too. And, dog, they ran for another like 40, 50 minutes of just hills and trails. I'm like,
That's right.
You
Yeah,
said
that's right.
running is about how much you can punish yourself.
Oh, yeah, that's why it's the hardest sport.
Oh, my gosh.
Argue with the wall.
Yeah.
Final Four weekend this weekend as UConn takes on Illinois at 5:09 on Saturday. It's going to be a good Final Four. Arizona, Michigan at 7:49 p.m. on Saturday from Indianapolis as well. 3 players in Dan Hurley's system have been there for at least 2 years. And Illinois will be the only team that can match that level of experience. Interesting matchup between UConn and Illinois, Ramon, because no team in America sends opponents to the free throw line less often than Illinois. On the other side of things, in the Huskies' 5 losses, they had 80 free throw attempts combined, while their opponents had 128.
Yeah.
From a piece on ESPN.com yesterday. Illinois' defense is what kind of got them to this point. Yeah. They're shooting nearly 36% from 3. In losses, that number jumps to 31%. But they have been terrific defensively. They went 3 for 17 from 3 in the Elite 8 against Iowa and still were able to get over the line and win pretty comfortably by the end of that game. What do you think about UConn, Illinois, and who do you give the edge in this one?
I give the edge, quite honestly, to Illinois. The fact that they're shooters like that, they're very more disciplined than I feel like what UConn presents itself. You telling me that they send opposing teams to the free throw line almost at one of the worst rates in all of NCAA basketball? This is what the tournament's about. If they're going to play physical and want to send guys to the free throw line and score when the clock's not running, it's going to be an issue that they have to figure out for themselves. But the way I view it is this. They take on the personality of their coach, Dan Hurley. It's going to be aggressive. When they match a team that's more disciplined and also play as physical as them, I'm giving the edge to them. And also look at I don't want to call it luck because that was a heck of a shot, heck of a defensive play by UConn against Duke. But sometimes when I have those situations where you win just at the break of whatever. I feel like your luck runs out when you meet a team that's just as good as you in this one. And I'm not sure if it's luck because he's done this before in his team, Dan Hurley, but I'm going to even back up a little bit and say this should be Duke's game, if that just completely makes sense.
Yeah.
This should be Duke's game. They got beat. Illinois cruised basically to their win to make it to the Final Four. This was, I think, their gas might run out.
UConn, one of the worst teams at generating free throw attempts. They also are 307th per KenPom on putting teams on the free throw line. I'm not sure that's a great matchup against a team with the size and offensive rebounding ability that Illinois has. I think this game really comes down to UConn's ability to get some guys that are in little slumps, shooting-wise, to snap out of it.
Yeah.
Terrace Reed can't do it by himself in this game. And whether it's Caravan who didn't shoot well against Duke and made some plays late in order to win that game, or Solo Ball, who's not been really himself through the NCAA tournament, or Braylon Mullins, who has been a little bit hot and cold. It feels like that kind of game where it just comes down to jump shots. Illinois, to that point, has made double-digit threes in a game just once since March 3rd, after doing it in 18 of the previous 22 games before that. Illinois does also have a top 10 defense since the start of the NCAA tournament. They ranked outside the top 25 in defensive efficiency up until that point. If Illinois regresses to the mean of what it's been all season defensively, it's UConn's night. It's one of those two where I like Dan Hurley with an extra week to prepare. With extra time to prepare. Gotcha. If this was coming off the heels of another game in one weekend, I might give a slight edge to Illinois because I don't love the matchup here for UConn, but I just feel like Dan Hurley is going to have the Illinois defense at a blender and kind of have them regress back to what they've been all season. Because they're on a heater right now defensively.
That's a great point. I roll with you there.
Arizona, Michigan's going to be fun, and Arizona, this is a strength-on-strength matchup inside. Two very long, physical, big teams. Arizona ranks 5th in the country in paint points, averaging more than 42 paint points per game this year. Also led the country in free throw attempts with nearly 20 points per game at the free throw line. Arkansas, another good team in the paint. They scored 60 in the paint against Arkansas in their win to get them to the Elite Eight, to beat Purdue and get to this point. Koa Pete, Krivas, Tobe Awaka, Braden Burries, Ivan Karchenkov, they are kind of everywhere. The problem is they don't shoot well from three, and that's been the recipe to beat Michigan. Arkansas, 200, or not even 200, and not Arkansas. Arizona, 363rd nationally in three-point attempt rate, 361 in percentage of points from three. I don't think it's a great matchup on paper with Arizona. The other part of it is Michigan has to just not be on a heater from three themselves because they have been lights out shooting three-point shots, but in their losses, they're shooting 28% from three in those matchups. That is literally the indicator, really, for both these games. It seems really simple, but who can be more consistent from three, I think, is a major talking point in both games.
And what's crazy with both of these teams, watching Michigan just up close this last time, I saw another one of their games, so it was actually against Illinois when I was up in Knoxville. Their size also consumes you, too. But the issue that they have is Arizona has the exact same thing that they have inside of the front court, too. It is going to be, to me, this is Goliath versus Goliath to me.
Yes, it is.
Like, there is no David in this matchup whatsoever. I think the way the back court is going to be able to defend around the three-point line, as you said, is going to be crucial to them. But if you are trying to get paint points the way Arizona does, or you trying to just force it inside the way Michigan will at times and get those extra rebounds, it's going to be tough sledding for you. Again, these are lurches that are inside of the paint that you have to go up against too. And if, to your point, if they can't hit from outside, there has to be a game plan where you're going in. I don't think Toby can bully these guys. Toby Walker can bully these guys the same way that he did others in this tournament. I think this is the national championship game, if we can be honest about it. I know UConn's been a more recent representative than anybody else has in the field, but legitimately, this is the national matchup to me when you look at it.
It's going to be fun.
It is.
Michigan has struggled against teams that can also defend well on the perimeter. Do they miss LJ Kaysen, the guard that's been out as well in this game? And two, I mean, Arizona's not going to take as many threes, which means you're not going to get as many long rebounds to throw out and run in transition. And if you can't stop Michigan from scoring in transition, then you're not going to beat Michigan unless you also score 90 to 100 points. But strength on strength, it's going to be a really, really, really fun game.
Is there a winner,
Really
a winner moves on type of mentality to go to Carolina after this game?
Well, I mean, they're both kind of giving non-answers. And Tommy Lloyd the other day still talked about the same talking points and said Arizona has his full focus. And Dusty May just said, yeah, I learned last year when my alma mater came open that anything I say is going to get twisted, so I'm just not going to comment on a job I don't have.
Oh.
That's all he said.
I don't like that one for Michigan.
Yeah, I think they're both up for it.
They're both up for it.
They're both up for it for North
on.
Carolina and for Billy Donovan. I don't know. It could be the case where loser moves on if they prefer one or the other. And I don't know. The guy that is available to talk to first, you go ahead and meet with. But it's going to be interesting to see how that impacts the whole weekend and if anybody's really impacted by it.
Because I don't think there's anybody coming out of left field right now for that coaching job.
Yeah, it feels like it's Dusty May, Tommy Lloyd, or Billy Donovan. For the North Carolina job.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Live for the 104.5 The Zone Circus Sports Studio, Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs. Going to hit a little bit of everything this morning. Brent Hubs at 7:20, Sam Monson at 8:20, and Ron Slay at 9:20. A little bit of hockey, a little bit of soccer, and a whole lot of football. Same faces, new places. We give you SEC spring football storylines for the 15 teams of the conference not named Tennessee after this. We've got same faces in new places in the SEC. Some spring football storylines at Hour 1 here on Ramon and Will. At Ramon and Will, where you can follow the show on Twitter. 615-737-1045. You want to go alphabetical through this, or do you want to start with just who you want to know more about in the SEC?
I want to know more about, and we don't even play them this year, South Carolina.
Okay.
I kind of want to start there.
That's a very random place to start.
You know how I feel about them because I feel like they're always on the brink of taking the next step. But then last year, Lenore Sellers didn't do what he was supposed to do. I thought Shane Beamer was going to be on his way out. They made a lot of changes to the offensive line. They went viral for all the former pro offensive linemen joking their coaches. Offensive line coach drills that he had them doing. I somewhat understood the concept, but it was kind of corny and kind of quirky too. But I do know offensive line play was there was a silver bullet last year. It wasn't good at all.
Well, allow me to introduce you to Jacarius Peak, a transfer at left tackle from NC State. 5-star transfer, according to On3, who joins South Carolina. Darius Gray, who was a Tennessee target at one point in the interior offensive line. Perhaps someone that you maybe interacted with at one point in the recruitment process.
I almost unfollowed him. But,
there you go.
But he's cool. You never know. He might transfer to the Vols later or something like that. Plus, he enjoyed me, so I enjoyed him too. He's a good player. 5-star, interior.
He may be expected to start year one at South Carolina.
I think so.
The new offensive coordinator of South Carolina. Did you see this? It's Kendall Briles.
Art's son, grandson?
Yes.
Art Briles?
Son.
Wow, son. Okay. No, did not know that, Will. So they're going to the Air Raid too, or some similar.
Yeah, he has been, he's been everywhere. He was at Arkansas. Most recently was Sam Pittman.
Okay.
Obviously now that's Ryan Silverfield, the former Memphis coach who stays in state to coach at Arkansas. Okay, I just had to let that one breathe for a second. And by the way, Tennessee does play South Carolina.
We do?
It's October 24th in Columbia.
I did not realize that. Okay, for sure.
Yep, the usual around Halloween matchup with South Carolina is back.
Hate that one. Oh, they did a blackout against us. One of the worst games ever.
26 new players in for South Carolina, the number 25 portal class in the country, according to On3. So there you go.
All right.
Some faces in a new spot there. Where else do you want to go here?
Let's start it back up top then. Let's go in alphabetical order. South Carolina just always piques my interest, man, for whatever reason.
You're not alone in that either. I've got some friends that really have strong feelings about Shane Beamer and South Carolina football. And my follow-up is always why? And I know the era you played in was a little different because you played against better South Carolina teams with Steve Spurrier there.
Sure did.
But now, why should someone my age who graduated from Tennessee in the last 8 or 9 years really care about South Carolina?
I saw a South Carolina sports bar yesterday as well too. Yes. It's over by I went to a Sounds game last night.
Oh yeah, how was it?
And it was awesome. Had an awesome time. Man, VFL Julio Bourbon is working for them as well. He's in the Brewers organization. He spends time with them. But I saw him last night at a game. My neighbor invited me, so I was at the Sounds game last night. And leaving out right next to Brooklyn Bowl, there's the restaurant to it, and it's got a South Carolina flag right there. I think they have South Carolina watch flags.
That's right.
Okay.
You're right. I think it might be the tailgate.
Yes,
right there.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
tailgate
over in Germantown.
Yep, it is. Why?
Who's to say?
A lot of I guess people move here from South Carolina.
Sure.
All right, moving on.
Let's start with Alabama then.
Let's roll.
Alabama in the transfer portal with a change on offense. 119th Alabama in returning offensive production. The battle here is very similar to Tennessee's in that you have a redshirt freshman 5-star that's coming in with Keelan Russell with major expectations. Austin Mack, the other name to know here, former Kalen DeVore quarterback over at Washington. The battle is between those two guys. This appears to be a true quarterback battle. It's not one of those where the coaches have a guy they know is going to win it and they have the player they want to win it. It actually really does feel like this is a real quarterback competition between these two guys. Not a ton of separation, obviously, this early in the process. Interesting year, though, for Alabama. 44th in transfer portal rankings, according to On3, with the guys that they brought in. And you kind of look up and down this list. It is not the kind of transfer portal haul that a lot of the teams they are competing with had.
Right.
Not in the same stratosphere as LSU or Texas or even Texas A&M in terms of the teams at the middle to top of the SEC and what they did. I'm really interested to see what the year looks like. Ty Haywood comes over from Michigan, an offensive tackle, but not a ton of super high impact players here out of the transfer portal. Khalifa Keith, former Tennessee running back, ends up there after being at Appalachian State. Like a lot of those types of 3-star transfers for Kalen DeBoer heading into this.
Maybe he needs more workers than actual entitled talent is the way I look at it too. Kalen DeBoer, like he's thrived with less at other places. You know what I'm saying? With what he's done at Washington and everywhere else, he's figuring himself out. You just better not be wrong. I do know also with them, they hired my old offensive line coach, Adrian Clem, former Patriot Super Bowl winner as well too. And if I know him the way he coached us, he's going to bring an attitude with it.
And they have got to find a run game.
Yeah.
Them and LSU in the same boat there. Got to find a run game. Arkansas has former Memphis head coach Ryan Silverfield. Maybe Ryan Silverfield was listening to LeBron James. His thoughts on Memphis the other day as he got out of that town and heads to Fayetteville. We'll talk about that later in the show, by the way, if you missed that. QB battle here again. Memphis transfer A.J. Hill, a new face. K.J. Jackson, the incumbent backup who was behind Taylor Green last year, the guy to beat. Not a lot of experience, though, between these two guys. K.J. Jackson appeared in 5 games last season. He only started one of them. Threw for 441 yards in 3 touchdowns. And Memphis transfer A.J. Hill played in 2 games for Memphis and just had a little over 200 yards. A lot of inexperience at the quarterback position and a big rebuild happening at Arkansas.
Ron Silverfield is going to be a fascinating take because him leaving Memphis to go take this job, leaving Memphis and going to Memphis Extra over there is going to be a fascinating approach because, again, he set them up with a lot of success. And I feel like Arkansas getting away from what they've had and Sam Pittman trying to establish himself a little bit more rugged guy and just watching the coaches that have been successful at Memphis, can they continue this on? And Ron Silverfield, to me, I personally think this is a big jump from Memphis to Arkansas with the exposure that you have and playing in the SEC as well. But I know that team and those folks down there didn't want to see him go because of what he was starting to build there as well. So first year, I think the Vols play them as well next year.
That's right.
Arkansas, yes.
Tennessee does play Arkansas this season. The number 7 transfer portal class in the country, according to On3. Mm-hmm. They brought in 41 players from the transfer portal.
Yeah.
41.
That's tough.
That is crazy. Steven Souls from Powell, Tennessee. Not Powell, Powell, Tennessee. An edge from Kentucky. Jasper Parker is a running back from Michigan. Davion Witherspoon, highly rated player from Ohio University. Some of the big names to know there. Did you know that Chaz Nimrod is back in the SEC?
I had no idea.
Playing for Alex Golesh and the Auburn Tigers. 13 players came over from USF to Auburn, including 11 on offense, and obviously none more important than quarterback Byram Brown. Very dynamic passer and runner, helped lead the Bulls to a 9-win season. Cam Coleman is gone. No longer at wide receiver. USF guys there, Chaz Nimrod, Keyshawn Singleton, Jeremiah Koger, and Christian Neptune. Alex Golesh did take USF from 1-11 to 7-6 in his first season. Interested to see how that works there. Auburn has needed linemen for years.
Yes, they have.
They have needed big men up front for years. Does the tempo, does the system cover up some of the weaknesses that Auburn has had up front since Gus Malzahn's program kind of started to run downhill at the end of his tenure there?
It can, but it's also an offense that loves to run the football as well, too. That's the thing that Alex Golesh and his offensive line has to figure out. Tempo most definitely helps you. It can hide some stuff as well, but if he can't protect the quarterback when they're throwing those timer outs the way they do in this offense, is going to be problematic. But I do know this. Auburn has been looking for a team that's a little bit more tougher than the last coach was, too. Alex Golesh is going to bring every attitude that you want about his football team and how they play ball now up on the Plains. Vols play them on the schedule, too. And watching Golesh versus Heupel is going to be a must-see game, in my personal opinion, man. And again, they spent money. They spent money last year, too. Auburn is not going to be in a position where he's just sit back for that much longer. And I think Golesh is a perfect fit for him.
Georgia and Florida next up on our list. Let's start with the Gators here. Haynes King's old backup, Aaron Philo, leads the way with offensive coordinator Buster Faulkner joining head coach John Summerall. I think the name that's kind of a sleeper name here for Florida is Eric Singleton, who is a former Auburn receiver who was with Buster Faulkner at Georgia Tech before he went to Auburn last season. Buster Faulkner with Aaron Philo, he's only thrown 102 career pass attempts. They also have a redshirt freshman that's really highly ranked that they like in Tramel Jones, who's the other name here. Here's the interesting thing about Florida. They are number one in returning production on defense in all of college football. Not something you often hear about a team that is going through a coaching change. I think the other side of it is they weren't great last season. Do you want a lot of that production back just because they're back? Does that mean they're necessarily good at football? I think Clemson taught us last year that is always the follow-up question you have to ask. But I'm interested to see how Aaron Philo could do right away in the SEC. Again, it's one of those situations where you bring in the quarterback with the coordinator. Yep. Maybe you take away some of those growing pains you have under a new regime.
Well, hopefully that takeaway right there benefits the Vols against Georgia Tech, too, because I'm sure he was probably in line to be the starting quarterback behind Haynes King at some point in time. But what a step up from Aaron Philo. The other part, though, too, is John Summerall. He's a coach that's won. Auburn, I thought, was going to make that, or LSU were going to make that hire and didn't because Lane became available to you, though, as well.
True.
Florida, having the year that they did last year, losing at home to the Vols in umpteen million years as well. I question the new coach reset for a team that's starving for relevancy again in the SEC, and it's not gotten easier for them. So everybody believes in Summerall as a coach. I personally am just watching and seeing because being bad in the SEC and trying to climb back, unless you're spending a crazy amount of money in the portal, doesn't usually reset you. And I feel like just taking a shot at them, South Carolina somewhat showed that too last year. They were a team I thought underperformed, and Florida most definitely did not meet the mark this past year.
Yep.
With an all-star quarterback, too, that ended up hitting the portal and going to Baylor.
Georgia is number 8 in college football in overall returning production. They were young last year, but receiver was hit hard by personnel losses. Zachariah Branch and Noah Thomas are in the NFL draft. Dylan Bell and Kobe Young finally exhausted their eligibility. Yeah. Two guys that felt like they were there for forever. Nashville native London Humphreys back in the fray. He's still there. Sokovi White Helton coming back. But they need some young wideouts to step up. Taylon Taylor, Thomas Blackshear, C.J. Wiley important there. Georgia's kind of lost their nastiness on defense. And I never thought I'd say that. And that is where the transfer portal and NIL has allowed them or has kept them from just stockpiling talent and just having a 5-star ready to step in at any given moment at edge and at defensive line and at linebacker. Last season, Georgia averaged 4.2 tackles for loss per game. That was the lowest mark of the Kirby Smart era. That was 2 fewer per game than 2024 was. They ranked in the hundreds in sacks last season. Christian Miller, gone at defensive tackle. Important name here, a wide receiver as well, Isaiah Canyon, former Georgia Tech player, crossing rivalry lines for Georgia. It is really interesting how that defensive identity has changed, Ramon.
Yeah.
Yet Georgia has still been in the mix for national championships and SEC championships. They're just having to do it in a little bit of a different way.
They are. By the way, Kirby Smart made another viral over the speakerphone comment the other day. There's an Alabama transfer that's there, I think, a safety, if I'm not mistaken, and he was just bragging on how he was lighting guys up, which is a Kirby Smart specialty. He's a defensive back coach, former defensive back coach, and he seems to be excited about his back end. Now, you speak about the ability to get in the backfield. Usually having a tough secondary does that for you as well. I'm trying to find out the guy that he was yelling at over the intercom. It went viral like last week sometime in their spring practice. It was an Alabama transfer. Jeez Louise. Who was that? It wasn't Tyquez Richardson. No, it's offensive lineman. Either way, I'll find that for us on the break.
Okay. Yeah, Georgia is It is always going to have high expectations. Our resident Duke basketball fan on YouTube says, we love the low expectations. Go Dogs. He switched back to Georgia. Underdogs are welcome. Nah, you put that G on your helmet, buddy, with Kirby Smart down there wearing the visor. You don't have low expectations.
No, you do not.
Why on earth would Georgia have low expectations? I just said you were 8th in FBS at overall returning production.
Listening
It's
is a
national
skill.
title or bust expectation. You got a returning quarterback. 2/3 of the conference doesn't know who their quarterback's going to be right now. You do.
Yes.
Go look like Georgia on defense, and maybe you'll be able to compete for a national title.
Yeah, y'all are not on state assistants. Y'all
What
are
are we
the state
talking about?
assistants. Yeah, absolutely.
You're eating filet and lobster. We're not talking about
You say take the underdog stuff somewhere
we're
else.
We're not doing the value
I'm with
menu
you,
in
man.
Athens, Georgia.
No.
Yeah, no, definitely not. The Alabama, I don't see an Alabama transfer in here from this past season.
I'll have to find it for you. It might have been there last year.
Not a ton of transfers in for Georgia this year. Just 8 guys brought in, but they're all pretty high impact guys. On 3, you had Georgia as the number 51 transfer portal class. They only lost 14 players, though.
Okay.
Pretty good for 2026. Kentucky is a fascinating team. Under Will Stein in year 1, former Notre Dame and Pope John Paul II quarterback, Kenny Minchie, the quarterback here. He was committed to Nebraska for a cup of coffee. Will Stein and Kentucky get him to flip to the Wildcats. Entirely new offense, specifically. 34 new players in the transfer portal. This is the number 11 class in the country in the transfer portal, according to 247. The new faces here, Ramon.
Yeah.
LSU transfer wide receiver Nick Anderson was injured last season. Now he's back. Lance Hurd is their left tackle.
You put LOL right there.
I did put LOL. Lance Hurd wanted to play left tackle.
He did.
Here's a Kentucky blue uniform for you, buddy. The last guy that chose to
down.
play tackle coming from Tennessee was in the concession stand during a game a couple years ago in Gerald Mincy. It's a funny picture on Twitter. They are 112th in returning offensive production. Quite honestly, though, I don't think they wanted those guys coming back.
No.
C.J. Baxter is here as well, former Texas running back for the Kentucky Wildcats. The question, did the spending spree result in immediate success? Time will tell.
Kenny mentioned most definitely is a mobile quarterback as well. He said his time he's going to be mature. This is his one shot, his opportunity to go to a school and be closer to home, to be quite honest with you, and put on the show. I'm fascinated to watch what they do at Kentucky moving forward. It's one of our rivals. We're locked in too. So we got to be, locked in on what they have going on too. It's just that they are Kentucky. They get rid of a coach in Stoops and make this next step. To be quite honest with you, honestly, with a Louisville grad, too, on top of that. So this is letting you know they don't care about where you come from. They just want to win when you have a buyout the way they did, too.
The LSU Tigers had the number 1 ranked transfer portal class, landing quarterback Sam Leavitt in a very public recruitment that had Lane Kiffin flying to Knoxville to see him off from his Tennessee visit. You got defensive end Prince Will Umanmielen, who joins him from Ole Miss. Offensive tackle Jordan Seaton, who comes over from Colorado. Safety Ty Benefield from Boise State. Second year in a row that LSU's gone all in the portal, but now they do it with a coach that they like a lot more than they liked Brian Kelly. LSU ranked 126th. This is just ridiculous. This makes me mad for LSU fans. 126th in college football in rushing. Tied for 99th in sacks allowed. Sam Leavitt not practicing. He's coming off a season-ending foot injury that he suffered in 2025. He only played in 5 games last season, but did throw for 4,500 yards, 34 touchdowns, 9 picks in 2 years with the Sun Devils. His ability to live up to reportedly around $5 million of NIL money, the storyline for a star-studded roster that's got to come together.
I mean, they got former 5-star Jordan Ross from the Vols on this team.
Yes, they do.
They got everybody's premier player. They might be trying to settle expectations, but I'm not. It is national championship for them. When you build a roster like this with the coach and how he left and talked all this trash, and LSU is a powerhouse. Last few coaches except Brian Kelly have won a national championship. Lane, keep that trend going on is what I hope for you. You don't get one either, but they have, in my personal opinion, the way we talked about Ohio State in 2022, 2023, this is that team in the SEC.
On paper, it is.
On paper. No, in real life, the way I want to play this one. It's got to play out that way. You got the number one quarterback out the portal, the number one left tackle in Jordan Seaton, another 5-star edge on top of Prince Will and how do you say it? Omami Ellen as well, who's going to be a top 2-round edge player too going in the draft. They got to check that box.
More SEC spring football storylines. We go rapid fire on the rest of the conference after this. What's up? It's Will Bowling. For over 50 years, Brentwood Jewelry has been proudly serving the Brentwood community with exceptional style and exceptional deals every day. I walked into Brentwood Jewelry not too long ago needing that perfect engagement ring, and I got to be honest with you, I was stressed. It's a stressful process. You're making a big purchase, a big investment, and I loved how Brentwood Jewelry just made the process so easy for me. This is a family-owned and operated business spanning 3 generations. They are deeply rooted in the community. They showed me the different options I had to pick out the ring, the different styles, and I had an engagement ring that I loved and that my fiance loves to this day. From Salem's service in Special Forces to his son serving as local firefighters, the Amamali family is dedicated to giving back. And since buying that engagement ring, I've been back for Christmas gifts, for Valentine's Day, for anniversaries. And you can, ladies, go get that watch maybe for the guy in your life as well. Not just the engagement rings for the ladies. They do it all in a time that's imperative to support local. Shop Brentwood Jewelry, 7012 Church Street East, located in the heart of Brentwood, just off Franklin Road. You can find them online at BrentwoodJewelry.com. Exceptional style, exceptional deals every day for over 50 years. Brentwood Jewelry at BrentwoodJewelry.com. Hey, it's Will Bowling. You've heard me talk about how League Company makes life better for homeowners, but did you know they do the same for their team? If you're looking for a rewarding career, League Company is hiring skilled tradespeople in HVAC, plumbing, electrical, sheet metal, and more. With 80 plus years in the business, League Company invests in its award-winning team with training, benefits, and real career growth. You can apply today at leecompany.com/careers. I love working with Lee Company because they have been a staple here in Middle Tennessee, trusted since 1944. Lee Company is a multi-award-winning great place to work with over 1,800 team members working at their 14 community locations here in Tennessee and also in Kentucky and Alabama. So if you're looking for real career growth, you're looking for that next job, think about Lee Company. LeeCompany.com/careers is the website. That's LeeCompany.com/careers. Lee Company, all you need. And just like that, we're back. Wrapping up hour one on Ramon and Will, talking some SEC spring football. And if you may have forgotten where players are, where coaches have moved, what the big battles are in spring ball, we've got you covered this morning. This is same faces, new places. And we pick back up at Mississippi State, Ramon, where former head coach Zach Arnett is back.
Wow.
The defensive coordinator for Jeff Lebby, a team that is 86th in returning production, 99th offensively. They are very excited about sophomore quarterback Kamario Taylor.
Oh, man.
629 yards passing for him last year, 5 touchdowns in spot duty. In the Egg Bowl, he ran for 173. In his first start, he has some Cam Newton characteristics, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. I saw him up close and personal when they were subbing in their quarterback last year because they had to put Kamario Taylor on the field. You saw him. He's got the size. He's got the athleticism. He's got the arm with it. And to your point, he looks like a young Cam Newton. If I could take him out of the portal, I'd do it in a heartbeat, Will. I think he can be special. Other thing, too, I thought about State watching him last year. They're not far off. I think they got some stuff to clean up offensively. They play hard. Coach Lebby had them going as tough as you needed them to. They don't have the finish gene in them yet, the way I view them.
A lot of penalties.
Yes.
Turnovers. It was the small stuff that plagued Mississippi State and really has in the 2 seasons under Jeff Lebby. They came to Knoxville a couple years ago and gave Tennessee a game. They've given Georgia a game and Athens. They've been around teams. They've just not been on top of teams.
No doubt. I mean, they played the Vols tough last year.
They did. I mean, it's overtime.
It was overtime.
Yeah, right. Offensive line struggled last year. 45 sacks allowed, was 4th most in FBS. 8 offensive linemen left, and Jeff Lebby brought in 8 new offensive linemen. Their ability to come together, the storyline for State. Tyler Miller and DJ Chester from LSU, Javen James from Alabama, Miles McVay from UNC, some of the names to know at State. Austin Simmons is the quarterback at Missouri, Ramon. Yeah, and Chip Lindsey is the offensive coordinator. Missouri bringing in a number of new faces to catch passes from the lefty, former Ole Miss Rebel quarterback. Nashawn Montgomery comes over from Florida. Caleb Goody from Cincinnati. Kendrick Lanier II from Minnesota. Got to replace the production of Kevin Coleman Jr., who's gone. 66 catches for 732 last year. I think the big story, though, too, is at corner. A lot of new names there. Secondary is going to be a work in progress for Missouri. They are 107th in returning defensive production in Como entering the season. Yeah,
Drinkwitz always finds a way to get his quarterback, but it's a matter of piecing that defense together. They should, of course, have a good team. They always do. I'm done denying Drinkwitz. The respect I have from him is what I'm trying to find for Shane Beamer in the SEC.
Oklahoma essentially gets a redo for Ben Arbuckle and John Mateer in 2026. John Mateer's hand injury, a big storyline. When he came back after his injury, only had 208 passing yards per game, 8 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. And they were still a college football playoff team. That defense that Brent Venables had last year, and Jim Nagy, friend of the show, the GM of Oklahoma football, allowed just 15.5 points per game. 7th best in college football, 10-3, playoff appearance, had a 17-0 lead at home against Alabama, lost 34-24. That is a team that has, I would say, Final Four in college football playoff level expectations. I'm not sure they're a national title contender. I would put them, Ramon, though, in the handful of teams that if you told me they were in the Final Four of the college football playoff, I'd say, yeah, that's about right.
No doubt.
And Norman, you know how that fan base and program is. They're going to have national title expectations there.
And they have to. That's the other part, too, with them. And I got to give it to Brent Venables as well. He seems to be getting his footing in the SEC on how to coach it and the expectation of it, too. I'm not sure if it was just our game, but I saw him in other games as well. That defense is going to constantly be at you at every single turn from the front end all the way to the back end. If he can get anything out of John Mateer or his running game or from wide receivers, I know that's asking a lot. I don't deny him. To your point, I'm not shocked at what Oklahoma does this year.
Yeah, I think they've kind of built it now. Now you just got to keep doing it.
Yep.
Parker Livingston is a Texas transfer, Arch Manning's old roommate at wide receiver.
Yeah.
UVA transferred Trell Harris, a name to know here. Isaiah Satania back as well. He's got some weapons to throw to.
Yes, I like Satania. He's nice.
Ole Miss has a new staff, but they did I think a pretty decent job retaining talent this past season. That was helped in court, obviously, with the eligibility of Trinidad Chambliss. Ole Miss lost 21 players. I think considering the fact that Lane Kiffin is your coach that was leaving, only losing 21 players, I would call a success in Oxford. 30 new players came in. Leading receivers, though, Deshaun Stribling and Harrison Wallace, tight end Daquan Wright, they all turned pro. Talented freshman Winston Watkins is at LSU. Caden Lee, we just talked about Missouri. He's at Missouri now. Talented slot receiver. Deuce Alexander is back. They had 5 receivers from the portal. Darrell Gill Jr., a big name from Syracuse.
Remember him.
Horatio Fields from Auburn, former Wake Forest receiver. But no Prince Wilumamiela, who had 9 sacks, 5 new defensive linemen, a lot of changes on defense, and former ECU, go Pirates, shout out Robert Walsh. Offensive coordinator John David Baker replaces Charlie Weiss Jr.
I just want to know if that staff is going to be able to coach those guys up the same way without the emotions. What they did in the college football playoffs was a lot of anger. I want to see if they can do this the next time around. And also Trinidad Chambliss being given so much, and I don't mean in the terms of money, but expectations now.
Absolutely.
And also talent. How is he going to do coming from Ferris State to live up to the hype?
Biggest deal for them is keeping Kawan Lacey.
Yeah, run game.
Really big deal.
Yeah.
Retaining Kawan Lacey. 3 more teams here. 12 down, 3 to go. Texas is bringing the band back together. Texas might be preseason number 1 or 2, and I think it's warranted.
Yeah.
Number 4 in returning offensive production, 19th defensively. Texas returns the 6th most returning production from last year. And they have Cam Coleman at wide receiver.
Tough.
Hollywood Smothers, who had 5.9 yards per carry at NC State last year.
Tough.
Raleek Brown, who had 6.1 yards per carry at Arizona State. The number 1 running back in the country in Derek Cooper out of high school. It's 3 really good running backs to replace Quintravian Wisner and C.J. Baxter. They couldn't run the ball against really good teams as much as they would have wanted to. And they host Ohio State September 12th. Get your popcorn ready.
And they come to Knoxville as well.
Yes, they do.
Get your popcorn ready.
Absolutely right. Major expectations. Arch Manning played well down the stretch. I think he didn't probably get enough credit for how well he played down the stretch. Texas is going to be really good.
They're stacked.
Really good. Texas A&M has 2 new coordinators. Don't underestimate that. Colin Klein is gone at OC. He's now the head coach at Kansas State. Jay Bateman is the defensive coordinator at Kentucky. He's gone. They promoted from within there. Mario Craver is back. 917 yards last year. This is On3's number 4 portal class. Texas A&M. Ricky Gibson, old friend from Tennessee, is at corner. Wilkin Formby comes in on the offensive line. Kevin Byard's brother, Tawfiq Byard, is there at safety. A player Tennessee was kicking the tires on in the portal. A lot of talent, a lot of new faces up front. The Maroon Goons are going to look different.
Yeah, they are.
This year. They returned a lot last season on the offensive line, and I know that because every PFF and A to Z Sports draft simulator I've done, I've got the Titans taking like 2 or 3 Texas A&M offensive linemen with how many interior guys they have, including Chase Pasantis, who will be a second-round option.
And bringing back Marcel Reed on top of it, too. I mean, and the Vols also have to play them. I'm telling y'all, settle your minds on what the SEC is moving forward this year. It's going to be a gauntlet of whoever, and every single team's got something good. And now, Will, to the last squad, man.
The Vanderbilt Commodores have major question marks on offense. Vandy is last in the SEC in returning production and 115th in college football in returning offensive production. Vandy brings back 38% of its production from last season. 4 starters need to be replaced on the offensive line. Transfer tackle Bo Johnson from North Dakota State, a big name here. Center Lyndon Cooper was a big get for Clark Lee in the portal from Pitt. Guard Cade McConnell did start all 13 games last year. He's back. Clinton Azabike, who played in 2 games, a player they like. He was 6'8", 305 last year, a couple years ago at Northern Arizona. Ricardo Jones, a safety from Clemson, going to be important. Brian Allen, a D lineman from Iowa. who they would have seen in the ReliaQuest Bowl this past season and bowl season. I mean, the big question is, can Jared Curtis pick up where Diego Pavia left off?
Yeah, sustainability.
You can't just assume that because he's so talented, and he might be even better than Pavia was by the end, that it's going to look like that right away. Then the challenge beyond 26 will be, can you keep Jared Curtis if he really does live up to those expectations early in his Vandy career? Ton of question marks on West End.
It is, man. And Clark Lee got his hand full on keeping that sustained standard that he set also now. But, of course, Jared Curtis helps with it. He's a big guy. He understands the game. He's from the city, plays with a whole lot of passion and heart. That's the other part, too, of losing Diego Pavia. Who's going to pick up that end? Will it come from the defensive side of it as well now with Clark Lee being a defensive-minded coach? Because that leadership that you mentioned offensively with only 38% coming back, that's tough sledding. Not saying that there's going to be growing pains in it, but the expectation that you're going to have them with a freshman is most definitely key when it comes down to them being what we've seen them be the last couple of years. You don't want to just be the Diego Pavia show or only you got this because of Diego. Jared Curtis is a bona fide 5-star. Protect him and find ways to keep him productive and on the field.
Coming up, I thought that I got duped by a fake account when I saw one headline of the NFL yesterday. We'll tell you about it coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Man, the weather's about to change right now, and the plumbing might be an issue because you might have more people coming over to your house and messing up toilets or the HVAC. But that's the fact that you're about to turn it on right now as well with the AC, or you might have some low lighting outside that you're trying to get put up with those string lights with an outlet posted up on a patio somewhere. Well, I'm telling you, you need to reach out to Hiller for those types of services, man. They're just good at what they do. The experts solve your problems quickly every single time that you reach out to them. And here's the best part about it too as well. The price that you tell is the price that you'll actually pay. There are no hidden fees or surprises on your bill if you get an estimate from them at all. They've been in business for over 35 years and are family owned and operated. Their techs, usually the individuals that show up to your house, are very professional, experienced, and trustworthy. And when they're on the way, you'll receive a photo of that tech, which is a cool, very cool safety feature that they're giving to you, and a link to track them in real time so you know when they're going to show up and you're not wasting your time. Their motto is, and they truly believe it, happy you'll be, or the service is free. If you're not satisfied with the work that they do, they will either fix it for you as best they can or just simply say, here's your money back. To learn more about them or book with them like I do, head over to happyhiller.com.
7:04, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Nashville Predators beat the LA Kings last night 5-4 in a shootout that took 8 rounds to decide, but Luke Evangelista netted the game winner. The Predators had goals from 4 different players, including Jonathan Marchessault, who tallied an assist as well in the win. But despite the win, the Predators did not take over the second wildcard spot in the Western Conference playoffs due to the San Jose Sharks win last night over the Toronto Maple Leafs. Since the Preds did not win in regulation, a 3-way tie is for that second wildcard spot. The Sharks, Preds, and Kings all sit at 79 points on the season. 7 games remain. The Predators are back at it tomorrow night in San Jose to face the Sharks with a 9 o'clock puck drop. In NFL news yesterday, 5-time Pro Bowl cornerback Stephon Gilmore announced his retirement from the NFL after 13 seasons via Instagram yesterday. Gilmore won a Super Bowl in 2019 with the Patriots and had 32 career interceptions. And the women's Final Four, it starts tonight on ESPN with UConn taking on South Carolina at 6 o'clock. Then Texas will face off against UCLA at 8. The championship will be held on Sunday. Tomorrow night, the men's Final Four gets started on TBS with 3-seed Illinois taking on 2-seed UConn at 5:09. And then it's the top matchup of the night between 1-seeds Michigan and Arizona with tip-off at 7:49. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Bring it easy once, and you're home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Seven a.m. and hour number 2, getting started on Ramon and Will. Glad you are with us to kick off your Friday morning. Brent Hubs of VolQuest stopping by in 15 minutes, talking some Tennessee spring ball. We just gave you a ton of info on the other 15 teams.
Yeah.
Brent joins us every Friday at 7:20 to give us a ton of Vols info on all of Tennessee's teams. Sam Monson still to come at 8:20. Ron Slay, of course, in hour 4 at 9:20 on Final Four weekend. Ramon Foster.
Yeah, big time weekend for our guy Savage. He's up in Indianapolis right now. I think he's got some McDonald's All-American stuff to do at a college basketball slam dunk contest. He's
Nice.
hosting some stuff, interviewing. I talked to him a little bit yesterday because he's in and out of just everybody's podcast. He's lined up from podcasts from like 12 all the way to like 8 o'clock or something like that because, I mean, he's Ron Slay out here. And look at us. We get the privilege of having him on Fridays.
We really do.
Because we got it in blood with him. You know what I'm saying? We got him first.
Absolutely, we do.
Got him first. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it unfolds, though. I was telling him, too, like, for what it's worth, Indianapolis knows how to host. They are a hospitality city when
Great
it comes down
event
to
city.
big
Yes.
events. They do like it might be tumbleweeds going through the middle of the wintertime, but they know how to put on the show, though. I'll tell you that.
Not in the covered hallways over the road.
That's very true. You don't have to see those.
No tumbleweed there.
Not a
Tumbleweed
single.
maybe in the roads if it's cold enough.
A lot of handshaking and exchanging the phone numbers that happens in those walkways.
I haven't looked at the weather, but I imagine it's 45, cloudy, and windy.
I hope you're wrong on this.
Indianapolis.
Let me see what you are on the weather real quick, man, because it does get windy there, and that downtown loop is insane. With the Indianapolis is, you're a little off, 65 and raining.
Okay, I got the gloomy part.
Well, tomorrow's going to be 49 up to 68, but you're right, Sunday, 41 and 51. You're not far off. They're just having a seasonal warm day. That's all it is.
Fair.
Yeah.
Very
Good
fair.
stuff, Will.
Yesterday, the Las Vegas Raiders agreed to terms with Kirk Cousins on a contract that I thought was fake. Hand up. I looked at this from Adam Schefter and was like, is this Adam Schefter? Nope, Schefter. This is a 5-year deal for $172 million. $20 million fully guaranteed. It's a deal is crazy when reporters are saying the quiet part out loud about what the contract really is. Because then there were the follow-up tweets, Ramon, from all these reporters saying, like, this is actually just essentially a 1-year, $20 million deal. That's still more than what I thought Kirk Cousins was going to get.
Now, you see why Joe Flacco said he's not leaving. You get why Joe Flacco's like, I might play him till I'm 45 or 50. Yes. Like, immediately in my group chats with my football friends, I just put, he can't keep getting away with this. Kirk is, to me, what people just search for. If you just pray for it, it'll come. Like, Kirk legitimately has cashed out at every destination he's been. He's one of the first guys to get a fully guaranteed contract. He got broke off twice from the Washington Commanders in his young career there. Minnesota gives it to him. But then Atlanta says, hey, we're going to draft the first-round quarterback, but on top of that, we'll give you $100 million too. Like, Will, his earnings, I think, are second to only Tom Brady's or...
Yeah, it is. Second to Tom Brady's.
$341 million would be his career earnings. And guess what? 99% of it, fully guaranteed.
Say that again, the last part. How much of his career has been guaranteed?
99%, $339 million.
That's a lot of Cole's cash, Mr. Kirk.
How many Pro Bowls and All-Pros has he made?
Or his agent, Mike McCartney? Fantastic. Why does not more people have?
He's making money like a lot of clients are. You were right the first time.
No, seriously. Mm-hmm. Kirk is living right. Do you hear me?
So, is that starter money? Is he going to start ahead of Mendoza at first, you think?
I think so. I think they're going to walk Mendoza in slowly. I think
that's interesting.
You know why? They have one of the best. They have one of the best guys in America in the football world for Fernando Mendoza, and this Tom Brady. I think if you look at Tom's career, Tom sat, watched, and then he ended up getting it by injury, but it gave him time to grow a little bit. And I think they're going to slow walk him as well. This is starter money.
Clint Kubiak said he wanted to add another veteran quarterback to the roster just 3 days ago, and was quoted as saying, ideally, you don't want to start him day one. Mm-hmm. He's talking about young quarterbacks. Said, you'd love him to be able to learn behind somebody. That's in a perfect world. It doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes they have to play from day one, and it's our job as a coach to get them ready to go.
You know what, too? He fits everything that Fernando Mendoza is as well. Personality type, I think they're quirky, just the same. Religiously, they align with one another as well from what we've heard about Fernando Mendoza and Kirk Cousins, too. He's going to Vegas and trying to figure out how to manage what that is as a lifestyle. Kirk Cousins can lead him that way. And the way Kirk Cousins has dealt with Michael Penix Jr., I think it'd be a little bit different because Kirk knows what's going to happen this time around. And maybe the shock value of, hey, guide him, mentor him, show him how to be a better quarterback because, Kirk, you're on your way out, the way I look at him. And here's $200 million if you just so happen to do well. Here's this as well. I mean, I looked at the $80 million part of that deal, too. Is it 2 for 80, basically, is the way it's kind of summed up with?
Yeah, 1 for 20 or 2 for 80. So I think it's going to be 1 for 20.
1 for 20.
Yeah.
But
he's 37.
Tom, to me, is the reason why. I think they're going to slow walk Fernando Mendoza into this one.
It's really interesting the amount of involvement he's got there.
Yeah.
As a part owner, as a broadcaster, as someone who's meeting with coaches all around the league every weekend for his job on Fox, and then just stepping right into making big decisions like this and helping Vegas kind of operate.
Mm-hmm.
Really interesting. So
Tom, he didn't play at all his rookie year. 1 game and 1 attempt for 3 yards. Or 3 attempts, 1 completion.
That's hard to compare, though. One's a first overall pick, one's a pick 199.
But it's Tom. Tom is watching New England wash
Tom wasn't
out.
Tom, though.
I know he wasn't. My point is the pathway in which he grew as a player was by watching.
Okay, but if Tom Brady was the number 1 overall pick, do you think he would have played?
But my point is Tom Brady is a guy that understands how quarterbacks need to be curated in this league, and starting the number 1 overall pick doesn't mean success. He wants to set this franchise up for long-standing success, and one way to do that is not throw your rookie quarterback out there when the team isn't built for it as yet. That's my point is Tom has watched New England for years curate people in positions like he was to finally take it over and not just say, hey, I'm going to throw you to the wolves. I think there's a little bit more experience that Tom is given that other coaches don't do or organizations allow because they don't have time to say, this is how I would do it.
Yeah, I agree with you just for the record on that aspect of it. It's just the fact that one's a pick 1 versus pick 199.
I don't think that matters no more.
One is expected to start day one. One definitely is not.
I think Las Vegas is in a position where they're trying to slow walk success instead of immediate overnight.
I think that's probably the right
I personally don't look at it that way. I wouldn't start a rookie quarterback that soon if I didn't have the luxury. Plus, Kirk Cousins has told us with his signing that they're not going to start him probably most of the year if they don't have to.
Yeah.
I mean, back then, too, in 2000, when Tom Brady was drafted, it was common to sit a number 1 overall quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, the Titans with Steve McNair right at the top of the draft. And the Oilers, really, obviously back then, sat Steve McNair at first. That was not uncommon then when Tom Brady was coming up in the league. It kind of feels like a return to previous traditions a little bit for a team that knows it's not going to compete this year.
And they also had Drew Bledsoe.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
And that's what I'm saying. Now, that Drew Bledsoe name is Kirk in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're in Sin City, and they have the most wholesome quarterback room of all time.
I mean.
Go figure.
The most wholesome.
Go figure.
Not a lot of sins will be committed.
They will be leading, most definitely, Chapel.
Tennessee football had a scrimmage yesterday. Tennessee basketball is about to enter the transfer portal recruiting phase of the offseason. And Tennessee baseball has LSU this weekend. Battle of two teams needing a win. Lady Vol basketball. I don't say Lady Vols because there's one Lady Vol that's currently on the team. We'll hit all of that and more with Brent Hubs of All Quests after this. Ramon Will rolls on. Your Friday morning continues here in hour 2. Ramon Foster and Will Bowling. Pleased to be joined as we are at this time every week by our good friend Brent Hubs of AllQuest and On3. What's up, Brent? Good morning.
Morning,
Good morning,
Hubs.
fellas. How we doing? We got a little possum coming back there. A little no-show George Jones. Pretty fitting for Ramon Foster on a Friday morning. Glad to have everybody with us. We're ready to roll on this Friday. Hope everybody's doing well.
I was already admitting to Ramon that I'm gonna be the one getting grief from you the next 2 weeks because I'm out the next 2 Fridays. So I'm just gonna preemptively get ahead of this. Apologize to you in advance. You've got Ramon and assorted cast members as I get married this summer and go on my bachelor party here in a couple weeks. So,
Well, we'll give you a little reprieve on that because you still work about 85% of the year. Ramon, we're trying to get into 75.
I'll take it.
Listen, I was trying to think about a day soon, man. My batteries are low, Hubs.
This is why I said it on the front end to get that grace on the front end.
Look at him beating me to the punch on that one.
But here's Ramon. Ramon, you got that Kirk Cousins contract, right? You just gonna keep right on working for a while, baby, because you're getting that Kirk Cousins money.
Listen, I'm trying to find another bag somewhere, man. You sure I can't get an NIL?
Hey, man, my friend. Somebody somewhere along the way, pay me, please.
I'm telling you, Hubs, man. Well, listen, we'll get to it, I'm sure, but that's what the Lady Vols will be asking for soon.
Ooh, that is the epitome of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air gift right now, where Will Smith's standing in the room by himself. That's the Lady Vols roster right now. It's going to be really interesting next Tuesday when the portal opens, just how fast they are able to go when you have to have the number of bodies that they're going to have. And is everybody is Jada Civil staying? We assume at this point she's going to, but she could certainly still leave. And then we'll see what happens with the 2 signees. But to say that is a overhaul, rebuild, reload, start from scratch, whatever you want to call it's exactly where that program is right now.
Yeah, we thought the Tennessee edge rusher room this past portal cycle was Will Smith, and it was then too, but that one especially. Brent, Tennessee scrimmage yesterday as spring ball continues and we get a week away from the orange and white game. What was the biggest headline that came out of that scrimmage for you yesterday?
I think it continues to be the defense's ability to function in this new system as early as they are, functioning at the level they're at. They gave up really one big play. They had a pick 6. I think the offense had a hard time moving the ball early, particularly in the passing game. There's the yin and the yang of that, right? What does that mean? Does that mean they're really struggling on offense? Does that mean Jim Knowles' system, this defense is taken to it pretty well? The fact that you don't hear a lot about communication bust and issues tells me the defense is executing the play call pretty well. And I think that's a result of Jim Knowles adapting and adjusting how he installs it. It's him bringing people with him to help coach it, and then bringing some Penn State transfers that help it as well. But I think defensively is probably the story of the first 2 scrimmages from a positive standpoint. From a concerning standpoint, you just kind of wonder where this passing game is right now.
With that, Brent, and the battle between Faison Brandon and George McIntyre, what has Faison Brandon shown to maybe not let George run away with it? And obviously no one was going to win or totally lose the battle this early. It's April 3rd, but what specifically has Faison Brandon done to keep this as even of a battle as it is at this point? Because it doesn't feel like George has totally taken this and run with it so far from everything we've read.
Well, I think that Faison has managed the offense pretty well. Now, he's still got a long ways to go, and so does George. But, I think Faison's ability to manage early in his career to, execute the huddle, execute the run game pretty well, make decisions throwing the football. His talent's very obvious. I mean, he oozes with talent. He's got size. He can throw it. All of that's there. I think it's his ability to manage the game and how much he has grasped the offense early in his career is probably what has helped him. Austin Price, I have to give him credit, which kind of pains me sometimes, but I got to give him credit for this point yesterday. And it was a great point. We think of George being so far advanced mentally because he's been here for a year. but he really hasn't played. Mm-hmm. And he hasn't even practiced in scrimmage settings where there's really something on the line. Because he was not going to win the job last August. And I know he had the first scrimmage where he was going against 2s and 3s. He did some good things, and everybody kind of had some buzz about him. But the reality was he was never going to win the job. And so now he's in a place where he's going against the best on defense. He is playing for the job, but he really doesn't have that much more experience other than sitting in meetings than what Faison Brandon has. So there's a little bit of a misconception, just that George entered with this great lead, and the thought now is that Faison has just closed the gap that much. The gap to start probably wasn't as wide as some of us created it to be or acted like it was, or the perception of it was. But give Faison Brandon credit. I think the mental side of it is the best thing he has shown through 3 weeks of spring, because everybody already knew the physical side was there.
Joined by Brent Hubs of All Question on 3 this morning, talking Vols. Hubs, when you look at this situation of quarterback competition, and it seems to be a tight one and a real one, as Coach Heupel said it was going to be. How are they dividing up the reps? Is it all ones for George and twos for Faison? Is why he looks better and, not taking sacks? Or are they swapping in one reps for both of them to kind of have some consistency in how they're judging them? Do you know that?
Yeah, they're mixing and matching some.
Okay.
Now, you got to understand, in spring, if somebody's a bit tweaked or questionable, they're going to hold those guys. So Jesse Perry did very little yesterday in terms of scrimmage work. So there's some guys along the way on both sides of the ball that, being held if there's a little bit of a concern about something. So, it's not. Neither side is really playing with what you would consider their full deck or what they think their full deck is going to be. But, they're rotating those guys pretty much, every series. But it's not just one's working only with ones and one's only working with twos. I mean, Faison's throwing the ball to Braylon Staley and, and George is throwing some balls to Travis Smith and vice versa, so they're mixing and matching those things that way.
No doubt. When you defensively look at it as well, the Vols have gotten a lot of help, and they have a deep room at safety as well, man. It seems to me Idris Farouk will not go away as he's getting interceptions in practice, but that room's got a lot of talent, man, from DeJuan Lane to T.J. Metcalf and Dylan Lewis as well, man. What is that back end of the defense going to look like? Because they're going to need it with some of the SEC opponents they got this year.
Well, we'll see. I mean, Dylan Lewis is an interesting story. We'll see what that turns into. He's getting a ton of opportunities right now. Second-year player in the program who's kind of been looking for a position. Farouk is a guy that Anthony Poindexter knew and recruited out of the state of Maryland. He knew, so when Farouk saw Anthony Poindexter was coming here, there wasn't, he knew what he was getting. He had a relationship, probably had some confidence there. And, Ramon, sometimes a fresh start is just all some guys need. You've been around coaching changes. Sometimes a guy's labeled something by a coach, or he's pigeonholed as something by a coach, and the coach doesn't have a lot of confidence in him, and the player doesn't feel like he's ever going to play and maybe doesn't go the right way. And, a fresh start sometimes can jumpstart people. We see it with head coaching changes, but you see it with position changes as well. And I think you're seeing some of that in the secondary. As Josh Heupel also said yesterday, they got a lot of bodies back there, and it's a lot of bodies who feel like they have an opportunity. They all feel like they're getting a fair shake of it because, Anthony Poindexter's made it clear everybody's even going into the start of spring. So guys feel like they can win it, and they're getting opportunities. Dylan Lewis has done some nice things. Farouk is certainly not going to go away in this. Metcalf is a guy that we fully expect to play, and we'll see what the rest of that safety rotation looks like back there, because they'll play some 3 safety looks, and they'll certainly rotate, some bodies back there during the game. They won't play 2 guys back there the entire game.
Brent Hubs of AllQuest, our guest this morning on Ramon and Will. Brent, of the transfers that have come in, has anyone surprised you in how quickly they've taken to a new system and how good they've looked so far?
I think it's on the defensive line, and I think it's Xavier Gillum's where it starts, because he just is a guy everybody talks about after every scrimmage, after every, really 11-on-11 scrimmage settings they have at the end of practice. He's a guy who's seemingly shown up. He's got some twitch about him. I think he kind of reminds some people a little bit of maybe Omar Norman Lott as a pass rusher on the inside, but probably sturdier against the run, or at least has shown that to be to this point. Now, does that mean the offensive line in the interior is not playing particularly well, or he's playing well? And, again, when you're going against yourself, there's a positive and there's a negative to everything in that way. Yeah. But Xavier Gillum, I think, has done a really nice job. I think Jordan Norman has flashed. The transfer from Tulane, who plays off the edge, I think he's shown up a couple of times. I think those two there. Amari Campbell's just an old hat in the middle, directing traffic. I think he's helped get everybody lined up, and kind of get it organized and communicate that way. But for me, it's the continued buzz probably around Xavier Gillum more than anything.
Brent, switching gears to the basketball side, Tennessee adds transfer Tyler Lundblade from right down the road at Belmont, and the last player to play Belmont basketball and end up at Tennessee ended up pretty good in Jacoby Gillespie this past season, of course. What do you think Tennessee likes the most about Lundblade specifically, and how do you think they can use him in what's going to be a little bit of a new-look backcourt this upcoming season?
The ball goes into the basket when Tyler shoots it. And that's what they like about him. And Rick Barnes made it clear post-game that they've got to go get more offensive weapons and they've got to shoot the basketball better from the perimeter more consistently. And, that's what Tyler's game is. He's got a quick release, got a high release. He can get the ball off in tight spaces. He doesn't have to be necessarily wide open. He really works off ball screens well. I think he's a guy who maximizes his effort to get open on offense. Now, defensively, he's got some things to work on. I think that's why he wants to come to Tennessee, because I think he knows Rick Barnes will help him get better defensively, which he needs to do if he's going to try to play professionally and not just be a shooter. And so I think it's a good marriage, because Tennessee needs the offensive help and Tyler needs Rick Barnes' defensive help. And so I think it's a good fit for them. And it's a start in the portal. They've got to go find a point guard. They've got to go find another shooter. They need a wing player, and then we'll see where they are in the post, whether or not they need a rim protector when it's all said and done as well.
Hubs, going to the other side of basketball, the Lady Vols history and just expectation is high and rich. Hubs, how far have we come, and how far do we have to go with watching what Kim Caldwell does this offseason with this team that's got one player and lost two coaches as well?
Well, the loss of the two coaches was Kim Caldwell's choice in the decisions that she made there. And I don't know that the departure of those two are a surprise to anybody. She's already made one hire, and Bill Ferrara from Florida State. She clearly wanted to go there quickly and knew where she wanted to go with that position, and got it done immediately on basically Monday after Gabe Lazo resigned on Friday. Now, where does she go with the second position? I don't know. That's a great question. But listen, nobody's thought in year three with a basketball team that was a preseason top 10 team going into this year with a ballyhooed freshman class thought you would be starting over. And that's where they are right now. There's no other way to describe it. They're not reloading, they are restarting. She is restarting her culture. She is restarting everything about her program. It's a complete do-over after 2 years in, which is a really interesting situation. Danny White's very clear in the fact that she is his coach and he believes in her. But man, it's hard to go. And I wrote this yesterday. It's hard to go 11 for 11 in the portal, or 10 for 10 in the portal, or 12 for 12, or whatever the number is going to end up being. And you're going to hit well enough from a talent standpoint that can play in this league, and a culture standpoint that you're not going to deal with some of the issues you dealt with last year in the locker room. That's going to be the challenge with this. And for Kim Caldwell, it's a critical stretch here to put a roster together. From that moment the roster's assembled, it becomes a critical stretch for her as a CEO for managing the roster better than she managed it a year ago. I know we're talking a lot about plan A and plan B, and we're going to press and all this, and that's important on the court, X's and O's and all those things. But the CEO aspect of it for her in management of players and a locker room and the roster at this level, she has to make some real strides from this past season to this next season for this program.
Other side too is baseball real quick, man. The Vols baseball team 19-10 dropped the series to Georgia, got swept by Vanderbilt, and LSU is coming to town this weekend, man. How is Josh Elander holding up with the Vols, and what's their issues that you see that's kind of having them take a little bit of a skid right now?
Finish. You got to finish. You got to finish games, plain and simple. You got a game at Georgia on a Sunday afternoon where you've got a 6-run lead you don't hold on to. If you win that one, you win the series. You look at last week, you had a chance to win Friday night, Saturday night, and then you blew a lead on Sunday against Vanderbilt, and you got walked off in extra innings on Friday and Saturday, and then you got walked off in the ninth. Finish. And that's the thing. They've got to finish at the plate. They're leaving too many runners on base, and they've got to finish in the bullpen when they've got games, in hand on Sunday. I mean, you can't give up 6 in the bottom of the ninth on Sunday and lose a baseball game in college baseball in the SEC. So for me, it's all about finishing. If you finish half of those 4 games I mentioned, what do you look like right now? If you finish all those 4 games, what do you look like in the standings right now? You're feeling totally different. The challenge this week this is very important, must win, whatever you want to say, that type thing for this season, not for Josh Elander, but for the season. It's very important this weekend. It's an LSU team that seems to be getting better. They've got a ton of talent. So we'll see. This is a big one starting tonight for sure.
Brent, what went into that decision for Josh Elander to give up the third base coaching duties? How significant is that expected to be? I know it's a change that a lot of fans have talked about. It is difficult logistically at Lindsey Nelson Stadium because the home dugout's on the first base side, and he can't coach third and have conversations because he's on the third base side, obviously, where the visitors are. Is that expected to maybe make a pretty big difference for a program that's just kind of looking for something to catch fire right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it best. They're just looking for something, have they had a bunch of miscommunications? I mean, they've had a couple, and maybe that's prompted some of it. I think maybe it's just to make a change. A lot of people have talked about it from the start of the season as it being a big deal. I don't think it's as big of a deal as fans want to make it out to be. If they go and win this weekend against LSU, it will be a big deal, right? It will be the big thing that happened. But I think it's just to try to change the pace up a little bit, change some of the communication up, maybe streamline some stuff a little better. We'll see how it pays off, when it's all said and done. But I don't think Josh Elander's doing this because of fan pressure, because this has been talked about for 2 months and he hasn't done it. But I do think it shows not a panic in Josh Elander, but a willingness to adapt and adjust. And I think in coaching, that's what you have to do. You have to adapt and adjust to things, and what suits maybe one team 1 year better than another team. It's your responsibility as a coach to do everything you can to maximize how your team plays. And if you need to be in the dugout to do that, you need to be in the dugout to do that. If you can coach third base and that's where it's best, then fine. But whatever you have to do to maximize your team's ability to play, execute offensively, finish games better, that's what you're doing, and that's what Josh Elander's trying to figure out, and this is one move he's taking a look at this weekend.
Brent Hubs of VolQuest joins us Fridays at 7:20 here on the show at Brent_Hubs on Twitter. The VolQuest War Room is up every single Friday morning with the latest on all fronts in Tennessee athletics. Enjoyed it as always, Brent. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it, Hubs.
Hey, thanks, guys. You guys have a great weekend.
You
Ramon,
too.
Smile and be happy, my man.
Hey, you know what? I was going to say something nice to you, man. Happy Easter, man. Happy Easter to you.
Happy Easter. Enjoy this weather. Smile and be happy. Have a great weekend,
And
buddy.
give the kids the golden egg. Stop stealing them every year.
There he is.
I don't have the Kirk Cousins contract, man. We're getting coal in our place.
Enjoy, Hubs.
Thank you, Brent.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Brent Hubs with us, presented by our friends at Ascend Federal Credit Union, your financial partner for every stage of life. And a little bit of everything there with Hubs, as always.
Man.
The Nashville Predators last night started a critical road trip with a W, but only gained 1 point on the Kings. A big weekend continues that we'll talk more about with the Nashville Predators after this.
This is a different court, Blair.
Same result, Slay.
Oh, okay, Blair. See, that's Tyler Tanner. See, Tyler Tanner's in the house now.
Let's see what you got. Jerry's out, Blair.
Blair, come on. Okay, Blair, just come sit down. Come on, Blair, stop. You're going to get hurt. Blair, get off the court. That's enough.
What's the verdict, Blair?
The courtroom is where I play ball. Boy, Durham, injury law. And that ain't got no roof.
Right back at it. Wrapping up hour number 2 on Ramon and Will. 615-737-1045, our number. The Nashville Predators last night get a 5-4 victory. They pick up 2 points. The problem is the LA Kings also picked up a point with a shootout win in Los Angeles. A major road trip underway for the Preds, who are now even with LA and San Jose. With 79 points, with the Sharks win over the Toronto Maple Leafs 4-1 earlier yesterday. 37th goal of the season from Steven Stamkos. Preds gave up 3-goal leads twice in this one, but UC Saros kind of made up for it. He stopped 29 shots and then had a perfect 8-round shootout for the Preds in this one, while many of us were asleep. Justin, the Preds have to have a successful weekend. There's probably no way they are in without holding their own. They could, I guess. There's enough time, but time is running out if they don't have a good weekend this weekend on a West Coast swing.
Yeah, they kind of have in a fortunate spot here to play both San Jose and LA back-to-back like this. Well, actually, since they played LA last night, they're kind of in this 3-game swing where if you pick up 6 points in this road trip, you're probably cemented in that second wild card spot. They just got to play better defense. You cannot give up.
Is that easy to say? I'm just asking.
Well, given the Preds' identity.
Easy to say, not easy to do.
Okay.
Yeah, right. The Preds are like starting to transition more into like what Nashville SC is doing in terms of more offensive success, where their history is based on defensive success, and they're just not playing very well in front of UC Soros. He had to make 29 saves last night. Still gave up 4 goals. They're giving up too much, and that's not a recipe for success in that manner. But it's nice that you're spreading the wealth. You had 4 different goal scorers last night. It took 8 rounds in the shootout just to get 1 goal, and the Preds are fortunate enough. Luke Evangelista had that one. Just got to play better defensively.
Where is the defense coming from then? If that's what they have to do, like is the
probably
strategy?
The locker room. They're still there. The defense is still in the locker room. Is what I'm saying.
They don't play it at all.
It's pretty disappointing to watch the way that their defense is playing. They're giving up too many zone, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just not good.
The zone is breaking down.
Yeah, like so you start with in the defensive zone when they're bringing the puck up, they're giving the puck away.
They're giving it
in their
away.
own zone or in the neutral zone. They're not getting it into the offensive zone enough to where they create their own chances before the defense is giving it up before they can even get there.
That cupboard was left pretty bare too in terms of the moves they've made, and
but those
a
were
lot
depth
of.
signings,
I'm
though.
saying though that a lot of the veteran guys that are household names that are still left on the Preds who weren't traded are all forwards, and then UC Soros. They've got a lot more, it feels like, inexperience on defense. I mean, they only have 2 players that are over 30, and that's Brady Shea and Roman Yossi. Everyone else in their 20s and kind of trying to make a name for themselves in real time probably won't be here very long.
They've had some call-ups as well.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like a lot of their star power is on the offensive end. Like they're just kind of making it work right now in the meantime on defense, which is the opposite of the way it's been in the past for the Predators, who have always been built on defense and goaltending.
Yeah, and they're fortunate enough right now to get that offensive success with Forsberg, Marchessault, and the likes of them. And you had a good contribution last night from Zachary Leroux, who's a really good.
He's fun, man.
He is fun. He's kind of like that Memphis style grit and grind kind of player. He's a dirty.
Don't tell that to LeBron.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Man, he went off.
Too soon on that one.
This is Nashville. We don't need to compare things to Memphis.
No.
Don't worry about it.
Might be playing in their arena soon.
Nashville's got a hockey team, don't they? Yeah, they did. The Predators. Oh, yeah, the Preds. Yeah, anyways.
That sounded scripted.
The thing for me, and Alex Doherty tweeted this out at 12:20 this morning because that's how late this game was going. He said UC Soros had a 4-1 lead in the second period. He then allowed 3 goals in the next 10 shots. Like it's too harsh on Soros to just say this is a UC Soros problem. That being said, with the amount of money that UC Soros is making and with the investment that this franchise has made in him, he doesn't erase a lot of those defensive mistakes, does he?
No, it's like what I was saying the last time we talked about it is if this comes into a playoff game or series, he can maybe get you a game. He's not going to win you the series.
No.
He's not going to make enough plays, enough saves, and stand on his head enough to win you that series. You got to have a good defense in front of you. You got to have good offense that can play defense as well. If the offensive forwards, now, a lot of times in hockey, Ramon, you want forwards that are good defensively, that can handle their own, because the way that if you look at the lineups when they're in their own defensive zone, you need that defensive power from your forwards, mainly your wingers.
So are forwards expected to be more offensive?
Yes and no, but like the way that the Preds are set up right now, you need that extra help, and they're just not getting it. So they're leaving Soros on an island, and Soros is not making those saves.
He's not good enough to be on an island.
Hence, like you just said, gave up 3 goals on 10 shots.
So all the good fortune we talked about a couple of weeks ago is down the drain right now, though, too? Or they're hitting that part of the schedule where teams are...
It's just survive in advance now.
Survive in advance.
Yeah. So by the time they get to the playoffs, they also play Utah coming up in this road trip as well. And they are, the last time I checked, I think they're like 5 points behind them. If they can rally off here 6 points in these next 3 games, they'll knock on the door, and they would rather have that first wild card spot so they can play the Pacific Division, which I think is that Edmonton right now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I couldn't tell you, to be honest
Because
with you.
the Central Division is a juggernaut.
I'm so in soccer season right now.
In terms of the NHL playoffs and the Western Conference, the Central Division is just a juggernaut between Minnesota, Dallas, and Colorado. You do not want to play either of those teams. Just let them knock it out themselves. That's what the Preds used to have to go through when they were the number 1 team in the West, But now you'd rather go through the Pacific Division because it's the Preds are just do better in that. Now, of course, Edmonton is their Achilles heel.
Yeah.
But
what's
live to fight another day.
What's your level of optimism for them the rest of the season then, if that's the case?
Oh, jeez.
That's the answer. Oh, geez.
There you go. That's all you had to say.
Yeah.
I mean, UC Saros is 35th in the NHL in save percentage this year.
Golly.
And that's percentage. That's not just the amount of saves. He is the only goaltender in the National Hockey League with over 1,400 saves this year. UC Saros leads the National Hockey League in saves, meaning that he is leading the league in shots against as well.
Yeah.
He also leads the league in goals against. UC Saros has allowed more goals than any goaltender in the league. He also has more saves. So the Preds are not helping him out whatsoever. There's only one player that has more than 150 goals allowed this year. It's Dustin Wolf in Calgary. Saros has allowed 167. 14 more than second most. I mean, they did not get what they thought they were getting with his contract. And it's not all his fault. But when you pay a goaltender nearly $8 million a year and you invest your entire future into that guy, that cornerstone piece, it's the only guy that plays the whole game and isn't cycled in and out.
Right.
You need that guy to deliver. And especially this time of year, because Justin's right when he says it. This time of year, you get a goaltender to get hot, you've always got a chance. The Nashville Predators were the last team into the postseason in 2017. Pecorine got hot. They were 2 games away and a bad call against Colton Sissons, maybe, from winning the Stanley Cup.
And Forsberg, he was not offsides.
Yeah.
Oh, is that okay? Gotcha.
Yeah.
So real quick, y'all got Brian fired up in the YouTube chat, man. He was just like, Saros shouldn't have gotten the contract he got. And the other side of this, he said they had a great prospect and they traded him to San Jose. And he's been playing
Askarov.
Yaroslav Askarov. Yeah, they number 13 overall pick, or I think it was, anyways.
Why'd the trade away?
Well, and he's not been any better.
He has.
To be fair, Askarov's not been good at all this year. He's also very young, and he's playing earlier than what most goaltenders are. I mean, he's 23. 11th overall pick. He was the highest drafted goalie since another guy named Cam Ward, not Cameron Anthony Ward, Call. He was the highest drafted goalie since Cam Ward at the time the Preds took him in the 2020 draft. But Yaroslav Askarov is the flashy, fun. You'd be more willing to take your lumps with him at 23 years old than you are with UC Saros, who is later in his career and is supposed to be right in the middle of his prime right now at 30 years old. And goaltenders can play into their mid to late 30s. Saros should not be declining because of age at this point. And that's probably not why. He's just not playing well partly because he doesn't have a defense in front of him, partly because he's not been as good since he got the contract. I mean, he has 2 seasons ever under 900 save percentage, and they're back-to-back years.
The Preds also have pretty good goaltender coaching, and Rene's been a part of the staff in some capacity since he's retired. But also the thing with Askarov versus Saros is the height difference. Askarov is, I think, something like 6'4", 6'5", or something like 6'3". Saros is 5'10", so he's a little
5'11". Give him a little bit.
Okay. He's talking about the short kings.
We're talking about how short someone is. I want to make sure I give him every inch I can. every inch we can.
Saros gets a lot of knocks for being a little bit shorter. You want your goaltender to fill up the crease.
Okay.
And Saros just can't really do that. And Askarov, when he's coming out, was compared to one of the best goaltenders of all time in Carey Price and Martin Brodeur.
What's the trade away? That's the only question I have.
I mean, they got a lot of picks for him.
They did get a lot of capital.
They were able to do a lot with it, and then they drafted Brady Martin, who's had no impact this year. Which, I mean, again, early in his career, too early to say he's a bust, but they turned some heads in the player that they did take, who's a little bit less of an elite, skilled forward and a little bit more of a do-it-all kind of player.
Yeah.
And thinking was like, you finally have a top 10 pick. You finally got a decent enough draft pick to go get that elite forward. And I don't know, I think there's some skepticism that Brady Martin is ever going to be that elite forward and is more of kind of a workman-like, high-floor kind of player and prospect. And that's, again, it's so different from Titans and from NFL, where I don't necessarily believe totally in tanking.
Yeah.
I just think they've got to do a lot this year to justify their inactivity at the trade deadline. Just making the playoffs is not good enough for me for the Preds this year.
And I'm guessing Brady's now. You got people mad about mentioning Brady too. He's on the OHL. What is that? I guess developmental league.
Ontario.
I know where
Ontario
he is.
Hockey League.
He played the first week of the season. They decided this guy's not going to have an impact and is better served to be in the OHL. Marciano. I know exactly where he is. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's just
That's the point.
Yeah.
Like he hasn't had an impact in his first season, which
That's tough.
he didn't have to have an impact in his first season. But I'm talking more about the overall evaluation of him as a prospect when he was coming out. I'm not
he hadn't hit
basing
yet,
that
is what you're
entire
saying.
judgment just based off of year one.
What he's saying is there was a lot of questions when the Preds drafted him.
It was a bit surprising of a move.
Yeah. Like there was better players on the board and they drafted him.
That's right.
And
He's not going to be that 30, 40 goal scorer.
Man, call
He's
it straight.
good. I mean, he's better defensively, but
the Preds need
also 19.
an annual 40 goal scorer. They just never had that.
And the only way to draft one of those is to be bad enough to draft in the top 10 or really even top 5.
And now, of course, your defense is getting older, and now you need defensemen and a goalie and forwards and a new team
And
a new coach
they've wasted
and a new GM.
They've wasted prime Roman Josi years of the process too. He ain't getting any younger.
That's tough.
Pushing 36 now. So anyway, that was talking hockey.
That was a good spill. Like, I feel like I got a real education in that one.
It's an interesting spot to be in because yes, they've been better down the stretch. I don't know if that's the best thing for the Nashville Predators long term. Coming up, speaking of long term, what about the SEC championship game? The Alabama athletic director says the ship has sailed on the SEC football championship game. We'll talk about those comments next.
8 o'clock, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Nashville Predators beat the LA Kings last night 5-4 in a shootout that took 8 rounds to decide, but Luke Evangelista netted the game winner. The Predators had goals scored from 4 different players, including Jonathan Marchessault, who tallied an assist as well in the win. But with the San Jose Sharks win last night over the Maple Leafs, the Predators are still on the outside looking into the Western Conference playoffs as the Sharks hold that second wild card spot. Since the Preds did not win in regulation, a 3-way tie currently for that second wild card spot. Sharks, Preds, Kings all sit at 79 points. The Sharks do have a game in hand, however. 7 games remain. The Preds do play the Sharks tomorrow night in San Jose. Puck drop is at 9 o'clock on the West Coast. In NFL news yesterday, 5-time Pro Bowl cornerback Stephon Gilmore announced his retirement from the NFL via Instagram after 13 seasons. Gilmore won a Super Bowl back in 2019 with the Patriots and had 32 career interceptions. Women's Final Four starts tonight on ESPN with number 1 seed UConn taking on 1 seed South Carolina at 6 o'clock. And then another battle of 1 seeds Texas taking on UCLA at 8 o'clock. The championship will be on Sunday. Tomorrow, the men's Final Four in Indianapolis gets started on TBS with 3-seed Illinois taking on 2-seed UConn at 5:09, and then the top matchup of the night between 1 seeds Michigan versus Arizona with tip-off at 7:49. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second half of the show, hour 3, getting started on Ramon and Will, Friday edition. Glad you're here, whether you're listening live on the FM radio, the 104.5 The Zone app, Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, or maybe you're time traveling. Listening in the future on the 104.5 The Zone podcast network. We are glad that you have made it to us. 615-737-1045 is the number. Sam Monson going to stop by in 20 minutes. We'll talk Titans. We'll talk draft. We'll hit it all with him on a show that's been a little more on other stuff this morning so far, Ramon.
Yeah, man, we've hit on everything. Hawk said we got a call, man, from a guy that was very appreciative and thankful that we were speaking and talking hockey, and we also do Nashville SC as well. So I was talking to somebody recently about Nashville SC, man. I was just like, man, y'all need to – yes, I'm a promoter of Nashville SC. If they want me to be an ambassador, listen to me. I don't even want the first kick no more. I just want the captain's lounge every single time I go there. That's all I'm asking.
Calling all captains.
Calling all captains. I'll be there. I will get the entire crowd going. Man, my family went. We had a marvelous time. Listen, they at home this weekend?
We're not. Up to the Windy City to take on the Chicago Fire in Soldier Field.
And also, too, let me just say this. There's other sporting events to go to instead of waiting for the Titans to kick off this fall, although I'm very pro that. I love football season,
of course.
But head over. You're in this city. Head over to the West End if you want to. Go watch a baseball game with Vandy. Belmont's playing good baseball as well.
Bring earplugs if you're going to go to Vandy.
That's very true, too. I sit in the outfield. Either way. Either way.
You still hear it out there.
Yeah, you do, but it's a little less, a little decreased, too.
Worst person in Nashville sports. Go ahead and continue.
No doubt about it. But Nashville SC, phenomenal venue, amazing team to go watch and see. Tickets are cheap compared to almost anything else that's going on, too. I'd advise you guys go do that. Support the city. And the other one, too, is the sounds. Go to a game. I thoroughly enjoyed myself last night, too. Game goes quick. A lot of great prospects there, man. You can see a lot of good stuff, too. And also, I always look at this when I look at pros play or semi-pros play, too. They make the same mistakes as your kids do, okay? Whether you got daughters or sons, I saw a pitcher throw the ball over first base head. I saw strikeouts. I saw errors. Listen to me. Go watch it. Enjoy yourself. They got one of the best, and I'm not even it's crazy I'm about to promote this. They got one of the best hot dog stands in America at the Sounds game.
Impressive.
I'm not even a hot dog eater like that. But
really?
Listen, I pick and choose. I'm very selective with hot dogs.
Was it a Nashville establishment in there?
A Nashville establishment. It was just one of their vendors.
They have Daddy's Dogs at Nashville SC games.
Daddy's Dogs.
Do they? I ain't even go to
the grilled buns.
Mm-hmm.
The grilled buns, too?
You ever had Daddy's Dog?
I have not had Daddy's Dog.
You're missing out.
What is it? Barbecue sauce, bacon, and cheddar cheese on the Nashville dog?
Straight up.
Have you ever had the Titan dog?
Well, listen,
Yeah, that one's
for a
delicious
$12 ticket, I went to somebody's guest last night, but for a $12 ticket,
Sure.
you have a grand time inside of the Sounds Stadium.
Alabama Athletic Director Greg Byrne is calling for an end to the SEC football championship game. In a piece done by Blake Topmeyer of USA Today, an exclusive interview, he said he thinks the SEC championship game ship has sailed, saying it's run its course. Quote, "It's a great event. I don't like the idea of it going away, but I think it's reality with an expanded playoff." He says, "I think we need to pick a lane. We were headed for a 16-team playoff, and then there seemed to be pressure for 24. As soon as we got to 24, I guess you could say, well, we better go to 48. I mean, at some point, we have to pick a lane." His proposal is simple. An expanded playoff allows for further revenue generation, which then takes away the need for an SEC championship game. Ramon, you buying this?
I'm not. This is Alabama's AD's mentioning this?
Yes, he's not the only one who's talks about it either.
That's fascinating.
He's the latest to go on the record with it, Greg Byrne.
I see it as a cop-out almost. Like, I get the extra game that you're playing yourself into, but if you're the best and the best and you believe in that, though, too, play the game is the way I look at it. Two top teams, whether you don't do an East and West or however you get to that point, 1 versus 2, playing the SEC championship, I think it's beneficial to the teams. And instead of just saying, hey, we'll go straight into the playoffs, like, no, you get the big event that the SEC rolls out every single year in that SEC championship to display to the world why you are as good as you are, too. As long as it doesn't affect the college football playoffs, which it
does.
can.
Always does.
No, I just look at this game. I'm a traditionalist with this. This format, to me, I like it because for the teams that are trying to keep momentum, you keep playing. And that's the way I feel about football in a sense, unless he's saying roll up the college football playoffs to start it earlier than what the SEC tournament is. How long of a break would it be from week 12 in college football to the first game? 3 weeks sometimes?
It'd be probably the same as it is now because you'd be moving up the extra round of games to championship weekend.
He said his run his course.
Why do you think it's beneficial for teams to play the SEC championship game?
The extra game gives you, I think, more reps, the way I look at it, too. If there's something you're trying to fine-tune, you have the ability to do it, or move up if you're the second-place team that's trying to get a better seeding for the college football playoffs as well. I just look at every opportunity to play ball, take it in this situation.
I understand that, but Georgia has lost after the SEC title game with better seeding twice now in a row.
Has it affected, their injuries? Do you think it has?
I mean, it certainly hasn't helped.
Yeah. I don't
know if it's impacted injuries per se, but we do now have 2 years of examples of Georgia playing the SEC championship game, winning the SEC championship game,
and then losing,
immediately bowing out in the college football playoff, where Ole Miss gets a rest, gets a warm-up game in Tulane, then gets hot, and all of a sudden now they're in the semifinal just one game away. Lane Kiffin's talked about it, saying, honestly, this game doesn't help us. Wow. I think we may move to a world where the final 2 spots of the playoff group of SEC teams is decided championship game weekend, and the top 2 teams earn the right to not play SEC championship game weekend.
Makes sense. So you just do away with it. SEC championship is just outright.
You don't do away with
winner?
playing games that weekend.
No.
You do away with the SEC championship game, yeah.
Yeah, that's
especially
what I'm saying.
with a 9-game schedule. It is, I think, more fair to crown a champion based off of a 9-game schedule. That does give you a larger sample size with which to crown a champion.
So the conference you're going up again, Big Ten, theirs is done too, is how you're looking at it as well?
I think you're going to have play-in weekend. I think one day you're going to turn the SEC championship game into 2, and you can still play 3. I mean, you could have the SEC championship game, and then the 3rd-place SEC team plays the 6th-place SEC team, and 4 plays 5. And the winners of those games get automatic spots, and then the 2 teams in the SEC championship game also get the automatic berths. Everyone else is on their own and has to get at large.
So that's 10 if you play the SEC championship, 10 SEC conference games that you're essentially playing.
Yep.
Yeah,
which also means you got to move up the season before Labor Day.
Yeah, that's asking for a lot.
You got to move the season up a week and make it work from there.
Yeah. It's the game that we once knew is done.
100%.
It's been done. That's me, to be quite honest with you. Like I said, there is a sense of pride in saying you were the SEC champion. The East and the West side of it is done as well. Now rivalries are set, and you just got to play them as they come too. And this probably is going to be the next phase. If they're openly talking about it like this, then this is what happens next. I just look at it and say, don't be wrong, SEC. Like, if you need the extra rest to compete deeper into the college football playoffs, like, it has to show the results of it as well.
I mean, Kirby Smart's talked about this too.
Yeah,
Kirby Smart said it probably has to go if we expand. Says where we are right now with 12 teams, I don't necessarily agree that it needs to quit being played, but if it gets to 16 or 24 and we've got to move the end of the season up and we've got to get everything done by the second week of January, then I'd say it probably has to go.
Yeah.
So it's not just Alabama. I mean, Chris Del Conte's talked about it, Lane Kiffin's talked about it, Greg Byrne, and now also Kirby Smart. I think it's a matter of when, not if. I do think, though, that we're going to get the step of play-in games before it totally goes away, because I think the SEC and the Big Ten and these conferences will fight and claw for every bit of dollars.
So
right now, that game, that's all it represents is dollars.
When you talk about play-in games, is this conference versus conference, or interconference games?
This is the 3 seed in the SEC playing the 6 seed in the SEC, and the 4 seed playing the 5 seed based off of the regular season standings. Yep. Playing for the 2 automatic bids that are not decided by the teams that finish 1 and 2.
I roll with that. That makes a little bit more sense right there.
Imagine if you're a team like Vanderbilt
on campus
this past season, when you talk about no, probably not. Okay. Like in a perfect world, yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But again, money making ability to put it in Atlanta, have it centrally located, play 1 game Friday night, 1 game Saturday night. This is to make the playoff.
Yeah.
Imagine the television you're creating. Imagine the drama you're creating there. Imagine how much the conference race matters. Because now, if I'm Texas, I can go play Ohio State, and it can help me more than it can hurt me.
Yep.
Because then if I still lose to Ohio State, but if I go 8-1 in the conference, I'm the 3 seed of the SEC, I may have that extra loss from non-conference that other teams who didn't schedule as strongly have. But that doesn't hurt me because I'm still in the play-in game in the SEC. Yeah. My SEC record is what matters.
It makes the season schedule more meaningful.
It's the way you do it this makes, way. Yeah. Right. And it also incentivizes teams to schedule really good Power 4 opponents in non-conference, where you're still going to see Michigan, Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. You're still going to see Ohio State and Texas, because those games don't as directly impact your candidacy to be in the college football playoff.
And you're suggesting first and second place in the SEC get that first week bye.
I think so.
Okay, all right.
I'll
roll with that. I will roll with that, and especially when it boils down to having not all of the transfer portal conversation before the season's even over. You got something more to play for if you're looking for bowl games. I just wonder, will they call those bowls as well, as far as gifts and everything else that's attached to it?
I don't know. I don't think that's as big a deal as it used to be, because they get gifts all the time.
Yeah, they are rich as hell. You're right.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, though, my argument is not great for the whole scheduling part of it, because you have to move the season up a week, and I don't know if they want to do that.
Yeah.
To your point, if you want to get the season done earlier, then you probably just forgo all of this completely, and you just start the playoffs the week after week 13, sometimes week 14, depending on if there's the extra Saturday in the fall like it was last year. So interesting.
It is.
We'll see. Times are changing, that's for sure.
No, times have changed.
Like I would love for the SEC championship game to come to Nashville and be a new Nissan Stadium, but by the time that contract is up in Atlanta, I don't think there's going to be an SEC championship game.
Maybe you have the
to even be moved.
Game. That makes sense, though, the play-in game. But you also have to sketch out with the NFL.
I don't even think that's going to exist. Jeez. Like, in a perfect world, that's what I would do. I don't think it's going to happen, because I think it's just going to be totally eliminated altogether.
You got to get Sankey on the phone then, man.
Well, yeah, he's a busy man. Busy man. He's also the reason why we're having a lot of these conversations.
No
it's because of the college landscape he created.
It's just so many teams in college where you're really not allowed to have the NFL concept, though. The way they lay it out.
It's too spread out.
That's the other part
Unless
of it, too.
Unless you broke away 2 conferences with 40 teams.
But even still, you got, the world of travel with what the Big Ten is right now. You got Cali teams trying to be a part of a tournament. I know budgets don't matter in college football. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Budgets don't matter in college football, but like travel will. Traveling from west to east can matter.
Yeah.
And east to west, too.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, it's just like, give me more.
You know how I feel about that. I don't care as much.
As somebody that's dealt with it, it can be problematic.
I have, too. And for one, not as a player, obviously, but I can't speak to the way you can. But
It's just problematic. But the game has changed. I just want to see the end result of whatever they are going to do. Are you 16 or 24 teams? Is how you
16.
16?
I want no part of a 2014 playoff. I have zero interest in that.
The fact that they're talking about it.
Ridiculous. It don't even get me started.
So as soon as we get to
Don't even get me
24, I
started.
guess you could say, wow. I don't get it.
I say wow every day
I
about
do
this current
too.
state of college athletics. Sam Monson of the 33rd team talks Titans at NFL draft with us next.
United Structural System isn't just another repair company. They're your local foundation, waterproofing experts, man. They live here, they work here, and they understand exactly how Tennessee soil, weather, and homes behave, man. They've been in Tennessee since 1994, serving homeowners across Tennessee for over 30 years. More than 30,000 local homeowners have trusted USS. That experience means they've seen every type of problems your homes could face. And here's the cool part. They know how to read the signs. Every crack or leak tells a story, and USS knows what those signs mean. They pinpoint the problems at the source. It could be foundation settlement, basement water intrusion, crawl space moisture issues, and more. No guesswork, y'all. Just expert diagnosis from people who know Tennessee homes and care about them as well. The engineering solutions, man, they last. Their repair solutions are engineered to stand up to our local conditions. They have an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, transferable lifetime warranties, which means, hey, if you end up getting something fixed, that transfers over to the new homeowner after you sell your home. The local and long-term protections too, man. You're not just getting repairs, you're getting a peace of mind. Look, you can book your free home inspection at USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com, and make sure you tell them that Ramon sent you.
Hour 3 continues on this Friday morning edition of Ramon and Will. Ramon Foster and Will Bowling. Shifted gears to Titans and NFL draft discussion this morning with our good friend Sam Monson of Check the Mic and the 33rd team. What's up, Sam? Good morning. How are you?
Sam?
Morning. How's it going, guys?
We're good. I'll tell you what, this fan base is all in on Jeremiah Love. I'm sure that doesn't shock you, considering the way teams and their fan bases act with skill players and especially running backs. In your opinion, Sam, with how much the Titans have spent this offseason, are the Titans ready and a good fit for Jeremiah Love with the 4th overall pick? Because that's the question we are getting almost every hour of every day right here in Nashville.
Yeah, I'd be scared of drafting Jeremiah Love at that point. To me, when you're talking about drafting a running back high in the NFL draft, there's a bunch of different considerations. What are you leaving on the table? Sort of value relative to other positions, all these kinds of things. But the starting point is my offensive line good enough right now to allow this guy to be the kind of player that he should be? And you look at the Raiders last year with Ashton Genty. The answer to that question was no, right? And it wasn't, I don't think, the worst offensive line on paper at the time, at that draft time, but it ended up playing like one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL last season. And so Ashton Genty was able to do basically nothing because every time he got the ball, he was immediately met at the handoff with a defender in the backfield. Tennessee's offensive line, I think, is better than the Raiders was a year ago, but I don't think you can confidently say yes to that question if you're looking at this offensive line. There's no way, I don't think you can be confident enough in that starting 5 to say we can definitely draft a running back and know that that guy is going to have the platform to work from. And so if the answer to that question is no, then immediately I'm going in a different direction. The rest of it is all superfluous. It's irrelevant. If you don't have the offensive line, I don't think you can draft a running back at that spot.
Sam Monson of the 33rd team, Check the Mic podcast with us. It's interesting then, Sam, if the draft obviously goes Mendoza 1, Arvell Reese 2, Francis Maui Noah 3, and it's no major surprises, or just offensive line 3 for Arizona. And the Titans are given the choice of David Bailey, Reuben Bain Jr., Jeremiah Love, or Sonny Styles. Who of those 4 would you say is the best pick for the Titans with the 4th overall pick?
I would definitely go with one of the defensive linemen there. The other name, though, I would throw into that is Calvin Tate. Carnell Tate.
Yeah, okay.
I'm getting him mixed up with Calvin Ridley, thinking of the wide receiver problem. But that Carnell Tate, I think, is a legitimate potential number 1 wide receiver for this offense. So I'd throw him in there as well. Reuben Bain, I think, is fascinating because of that arm length. Like, his tape is awesome. He's such a dominant force. But you have to at least acknowledge that arm length is so short, he's going to be some kind of historical outlier if he ends up being a really good and productive NFL player. And I've got a pretty high degree of confidence that he will be, that he'll buck that trend and that he's just that good and that powerful and that strong. But it's the kind of thing that scares people away from a top 5 draft pick. David Bailey is a cleaner evaluation, I think, for teams, that they don't have to worry about, there's no one giant red flag that you need to talk yourself out of or talk yourself over in terms of a hurdle to clear. He's twitchy, he's explosive. He should bring a consistent source of pressure for a team that hasn't always had that. So I think definitely one of the defensive linemen would be the way to go.
We're joined by Sam Monson of the 33rd team this morning talking NFL draft. Sam, how is it, or is it a problem if you take the number 1 wide receiver in this class and Carnell Tate at number 4 based upon his rating, or is it too far of a reach for a team that needs young wide receiver help for a team like the Titans? Is it problematic is what I'm asking.
Yeah, I think in a lot of drafts, Carnell Tate, he wouldn't be wide receiver 1. So the year that, Marvin Harrison Jr. and Odunze and those guys came out, Malik Neighbors, I don't think Carnell Tate would have been wide receiver 1. He might not even have been in that top trio with those guys. But in this draft, he definitely is. I think he can be, a high-end wide receiver for a team. And this draft as well, we don't have this sort of group of clean blue chip prospects that usually exist at the top of drafts. There are a lot of drafts where Carnell Tate, I don't think, would be anywhere near the top 5 because you have, a whole slew of like stud players at blue chip positions, and those guys just don't exist in this draft. We're talking about Ruben Bain, who could be the best player in the draft. On the other hand, he's got this giant red flag of like historically short arms for a position where that does tend to matter. And the positions the players that are theoretical blue chip guys, they're at positions that the league doesn't tend to draft high. Caleb Downs at safety, Jeremiah Love at running back. They're not the blue chip positions that you want to see guys drafted in. So I think for a couple of reasons, it wouldn't be unreasonable to see Carnell Tate drafted that high. It's an impact position. He's the best player at that impact position, and I think he can play well enough to be a number 1 receiver for a team that doesn't have, that clear superstar already.
I saw you retweeted out Trevor Sikkema. He used the word generational to describe one particular guy, not for no other reason other than Kirk Cousins and the generational contracts he's gotten, Sam. Sam, when you look at the Raiders signing him to this contract again, what is that signal? Is that, you're going to sit Fernando Mendoza if it's him, or is there a conversation to be had about the development of Ty Simpson? Like, is there a hiccup to come during the draft because of this Kirk Cousins signing?
No, I think they're just giving themselves the flexibility that, if Mendoza needs to sit for a month of the season, bring him along slowly, not have to start in week 1. That, I think, is what they're doing. They've got themselves a runway with Kirk Cousins. They can slow play the Mendoza thing, but he's not. I don't think he's even a bridge quarterback in terms of. I can't see any way that Mendoza is still sitting on the bench in like November this year. I imagine he's going to be starting this season. If not week 1, then at some point relatively soon into the season. They're just giving themselves the flexibility to be able to slow play him if they want to, and give themselves one of the better backups in the league beyond that as well. Once Mendoza is starting, if he gets hurt, Cousins can come in for a couple of games, and you've got one of the best backup quarterbacks in football as well. But yeah, Kirk Cousins' agent, the man deserves to be on the Mount Rushmore of player agents. The dude's done amazing work.
Sam Monson of the 33rd Team. Subscribe to Check the Mic wherever you download podcasts with him and our friend Steve Palazzolo. Sam, when you look at the Titans with that offensive line, needing a center potentially, maybe not right away, but long term, and certainly needing a right guard with the hole left by Kevin Zeitler to this point, is this a good draft for the Titans to find a potential day 1 starter, maybe on days 2 or 3 in the interior of their offensive line?
Yeah, I think it is. It kind of depends where these guys are going to go, in that often, offensive linemen can get pushed up in the draft just because you look around the NFL and almost every single offensive line in the league needs offensive linemen. But top of the 2nd round, I think there's probably going to be some interior linemen available there that you like as potential options. Emmanuel Pregnon from Oregon is a guy that I think could sneak into the 1st round. But if he's available at the top of the 2nd, you would love that. Chase Basantis as well, the Texas A&M guard, similar story. He could sneak into the 1st, but he's a top of the 2nd round kind of guy. And then I think, in the 3rd round potentially as well, there are going to be interior. I think that's where the sort of centers start to come off the board potentially. A guy like Sam Hecht from Kansas State is arguably the best center in this draft, might be available at the top of the 3rd round as well. So yeah, I think definitely 2nd or day 2 between the 2nd and the 3rd round, I think there's definitely going to be offensive line options available for immediate impact starters.
In that conversation of day 2 guys, is that where you're finding Caden Proctor more so? Because there's been a conversation here. He could go early, or if he sneaks into the 2nd round, the Titans can end up taking him in the 2nd round as well, just to solidify that offensive line that you mentioned. Is he in that category? Is the talk about him moving up the closer we get to draft day?
I think he's going to go higher than that because he's a polarizing prospect, but the guys that like him will see him as, a high-end caliber tackle. Gotcha. And those guys are going to go, day one. They'll go in the first round. So I think a lot of people don't see him as that, but the ones that do are the only ones that matter because they're the ones that are going to pull the trigger and draft him early. So, I think Caden Proctor could end up actually as a monster guard at the next level. I think that might be his best position, but his feet are incredible for a guy that size. You can definitely see why, people were projecting him to being a decent caliber starting tackle. And I think that probably pushes him into the first round and maybe pretty high into it.
Sam, when you look at this rebuild for the Titans this offseason, I know you sent out a tweet when the Titans made their big spending spree at the beginning of free agency. Essentially, and I don't want to put words in the mouth, but saying maybe relying on guys that got the 2 former head coaches on your staff fired maybe isn't the best pathway forward to rebuilding a team. But what about this rebuild and about that kind of conversation concerns you? I know that Jets defense, John Franklin Myers, Jets defense wasn't the problem, obviously, in New York with the Jets. But on the Giants' offensive front, bringing in Wan'Dale Robinson, Daniel Bellinger, Austin Schlottman, what about that concerns you for where the Titans are right now?
Yeah, I don't hate it generally. It's just, it seemed very funny that it was almost like they were only choosing from a pool of players that had former connections with the coaches that were now in the building. That itself doesn't scream great process. But, when you do look at the players that they brought in, the totality of it, look, it was a team that needed help in a lot of areas, and they brought in help in a lot of areas, and they've signed some good players. I think, Wan'Dale Robinson last year showed there was more to his game than people had thought before that. He had been previously just this pure horizontal underneath slot high volume type of weapon. And then last year, all of a sudden, it's like, no, there's a verticality, there's a vertical threat to his game as well. And some of that was, the way Jackson Dart plays the game and these kind of broken plays and extended plays. But Cam Ward can do that as well. So I think Wan'Dale Robinson's a good signing. I really like John Franklin Myers as a member to add to that defensive line and that rotation. He's just a good, solid, consistently productive player in terms of pressure. So, yeah, I think they did bring in a lot of solid players. It was just kind of funny that it looked like they were only going to talk to you if you had previously played for this coaching staff.
Fair. Absolutely. Sam, when you look at wide receiver right now, I'm curious about the decision the Titans have to make when in a draft that seems to be filled with boundary X, big, physical, power forward type of receivers. They also kind of have one of those in Elikai Manor, who's on the roster and was thrust into a prominent role last season. If you were looking at the decision to address wide receiver on day 2 with a Chris Bell, with a Malachi Fields, with one of these bigger bodied receivers, or maybe waiting on that and letting Elikai Manor have another season to kind of be that guy already in the building to step into that role. Which decision would you rather make if you're the Titans in the draft?
I think you can always just add receiver help in a draft. Like, we're going to spend, I think, the next whatever many years, 10, 15, whoever knows, until the game changes. But every year we're going to be saying this is it's a deep receiver class because there's just so many of them coming out every single year. And every flavor of receiver as well. Like, you look up and down this draft, and there are those guys you talked about, those big kind of prototypical X-receiver boundary guys. There's a ton of those guys in this draft. There's a ton of smaller slot weapons in this draft. There's a ton of these sort of move weapons, Z receivers that can do a little bit of everything. No matter what you're looking for, there's going to be a receiver that ticks that box pretty much up and down the draft, from the first round all the way down into the day 3. So, I wouldn't necessarily pigeonhole what you're looking for to, like, we want this specific body type. Let's target this guy somewhere down the draft. But I would say this is a receiving core that just generally needs help, needs impact, needs juice. And, if there's a guy you like in this draft, bring him in, let the competition play itself out. A.M. Manor definitely showed some things last year, but not to the point where I think you could rely on him being the guy going forward. So let's create some competition and see which cream rises to the top.
You mentioned not taking Jeremiah Love for the Titans at 4. Sam, if this was your pick, where are you headed? Personally, like I said, I'm going to throw myself out on the train tracks first. I say Sonny Styles. And I know it's non-premium for number 4 as well. Where do you land, I think, the best selection for the Titans at 4 if you were GMing right now?
Yeah, I think Ruben Bain is the guy I would hitch my wagon to. He's just been so dominant at the college level. Mike Renner on our show said he might be the strongest guy that he's ever evaluated on the defensive line. Like, he's just such a brute force power player. And he's, I think, already shown you that the arm length thing isn't really a problem. The fact that we're even talking about him as a potential top 5 pick with historically short arms sort of shows you that he's already able to overcome that. So, I wouldn't sleep at night well, knowing that, that would be a historical outlier, but I would be betting on him to overcome that. I think he would be the best player they could draft at that spot.
And I think that's the biggest issue is the GMs in the front office, guys that have to make this pick are going off history. And the NFL is all about metrics. You match this player that we've seen before and everything else that goes into play about not, honestly, getting fired, Sam. That's the decision you got to make. Do I want to get fired if I'm wrong on this pick? And when I know it's against me.
Yeah, and it's why it's always going to be an art more than a science, right? Like the skill is in knowing when to ignore the rules. Like, the rules would tell you pass on Ruben Bain, let somebody else make that call. Those guys with arms that short do not work out at the next level, right? And then the art is deciding, has he shown you enough on tape and everywhere else to say this is a reason to chase that exception? I would say yes, but my job's not attached to it.
He is Sam Monson of the 33rd Team. Subscribe to Check the Mic wherever you download podcasts for his analysis, for Steve Palazzolo's analysis as well. Always appreciate it, Sam. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it, Sam.
Anytime, guys. Take it easy.
Yes, sir. Sam Monson with us this morning talking Titans. He got a lot of grief for that comment he made in free agency about, I don't know if this is maybe the best process to go get a bunch of guys that got your now offensive coordinator fired. It sounded like it was a little tongue-in-cheek.
It was. And that's honestly been the narrative I feel like some of this fan base has run with, and others as well, when he was one of the main ones to kind of do that. It's quite fascinating that that's the approach. We had a call yesterday, wasn't about they're going to get a bunch of these players that were bad on other teams. Like, losing is a part of why you got fired, but like sometimes there are good pieces on bad teams. It's a matter of what you can do in new settings. That's what Brent Hubs alluded to just a second ago when we had him on in the last hour was, hey, sometimes you just kind of overcome these type of situations just where you are, or you need a change of scenery is what it is.
By the same rationale, I shouldn't want Jamar Chase then, or Justin Jefferson,
or Joe Burrow.
Yeah. Like teams that are on good units but not good teams.
Or Barry Sanders if you want to go by. Go back. Like, that's the ultimate y'all suck but I don't situation.
Like, and that was always my thing about that comment is that John Franklin Myers was a good player on a good Jets defense that was overall a bad football team. Wan'Dale Robinson last season was a good football player on a solid, decent, I would say, Giants offense that was a bad football team. I don't think you can totally put that on Wan'Dale Robinson. And Sam knows that. Sam's a smart guy. And
no doubt about it.
Sam put out, from what I heard from him a second ago, about a halfway sarcastic tweet that had some truth to it that was just overall a tweet.
It was. But it gets the conversation going, and it creates these type of narratives. To be quite honest with you, Will, we have to clean up locally when you talk about the Titans and who they chose to bring in and sign. It's some good players, especially when you look at the way other teams coveted them and the money that you had to give up to get these guys as well.
Coming up, Ramon, it'll be maybe your favorite part of the show, other than your brother joining us, obviously, Ron Slay.
It's an SC Minute.
Nashville SC Minute.
Yes.
We'll preview Nashville SC Chicago Fire after this. Right back at it to wrap up Hour 3. Ramon Will, hit the podcast feed if you miss any of Sam Monson or Brent Hubs earlier in the morning or want to hear the Final Four breakdown from Hour 1 that we'll get back to here coming up in Hour number 4. 615-737-1045. Nashville SC is 4-0-1 for the first time in club history as we preview the boys in gold as we always do on Fridays with the 90 in 90. With 9 matches unbeaten this season, Nashville Soccer Club has kept 6 clean sheets in all competitions. The last time Nashville SC allowed an MLS goal, it was March 7th. 235 straight minutes have passed for BJ Callahan's boys in gold without allowing a goal. And on the road, Nashville SC has yet to allow a road goal all season. As this weekend, they head on the road to take on the Chicago Fire in Soldier Field. Now, Soldier Field was originally the home of the Chicago Fire. From 1997 to 2006, the Fire returned back to Soldier Field for the 2020 season. They are building a new stadium outside of downtown Chicago, but Chicago was founded in 1997 on the 126th anniversary of the great 1871 Chicago Fire. But you didn't have that on your bingo card this morning. Greg Berhalter is the coach of the Chicago Fire. The 52-year-old from Inglewood, New Jersey, spent 5 years with Nashville coach BJ Callahan on staff together as the head coach of the U.S. men's national team. And you'll remember last season, Nashville SC got the better of Chicago to the tune of 7 goals at home at Geodis Park. They scored more on the road. Nashville swept Chicago last season. Chicago is 2-2-1 on 7 points, 5th in the Eastern Conference. Nashville is at the very top of MLS and of the MLS Eastern Conference. And they take on Chicago tomorrow night. They do so looking down on the rest of MLS and with a game against Club America in the CONCACAF Champions Cup coming up on Tuesday. That was 90 minutes for you in roughly 90 seconds.
Good stuff, man. I'm on Nashville SC right now. They got a goal-filled affair. It's the first storyline of this one right here. It's going to be highly contested for each goalie to keep the ball out of the net this weekend, Will.
It is. And, Hugo Kuipers is the name to know for the Chicago Fire. He is in his 6th goal streak of his young MLS career. So Hugo Kuipers has scored 31 goals. This is his 3rd season in Major League Soccer. He has scored goals in back-to-back-to-back-to-back games. It's the 6th time already since he joined Major League Soccer and joined the Chicago Fire that he's had a goal streak of any kind. He's the guy to know. I think Nashville hasn't gotten quite enough credit for how good its defense has been this season. And the back line that is pretty different, to be honest with you. Andy Nahar and Dan Lovitz are still there on the right and left. Reed Baker-Whiting has come in. He started 2 of the last 3 games and has been excellent as a U22 initiative player coming over from Seattle. But Maxwell Waleji and Jason Palacios have created a partnership at the back in a really short amount of time that has been one of the best center back partnerships in MLS. Nashville near the top defensively in Major League Soccer. They're right up there with Vancouver in expected goals allowed. Top 2 in the league there. They've only allowed 2 goals all season.
Goodness.
At this point in MLS play. So 13 goals scored, 2 goals allowed is a pretty good place to be as you head into match day 6 of the MLS season. And the break came at a good time. So they had an off week last week. MLS was off for international break a week ago. And they move back into a really busy time of the year now. So they have Chicago this weekend. Then they host Club America next Tuesday in the CONCACAF Champions Cup quarterfinals. That's leg 1. Then they will go to Charlotte the following Saturday. Then they will come to Mexico City to take on Club America at an 85,000 seat stadium that's going to be rocking. 10:30 p.m. Central Time, a week from Wednesday.
Okay.
Unfortunately. And then they will go to Atlanta. So 4 out of the next 5 games are on the road for Nashville SC. This is a difficult stretch. And it starts with a difficult opponent. Chicago's better this year.
Yeah.
They've added more of Greg Berhalter's type of players. They won their first playoff game since 2009 against Orlando last season. They are on the ascent. Nashville is the team to beat right now in the Eastern Conference, and you're going to get every team's best shot when that's the case.
It's fascinating, too, because just looking at the preview of this matchup against the Chicago Fire is this, though, too. It's the boys in gold have a plus 17 goal margin.
Yes.
Going into this one, too, is the largest against the Fire. But why are they anxious for this one? Because they've become more offensive as a team, too?
That's a good question. Chicago is not what it used to be.
Okay.
Chicago's gone through a lot of managers. They were in their first playoff game since 2017.
Okay.
Last postseason, the hiring of Greg Berhalter to manage the entire soccer operation was a big reset. So Greg is not only the head coach, he is also the director of soccer. So he's essentially the coach and the GM in a lot of ways. They still have a sporting director. There are other people in that front office, but it's actually one of the things that BJ Callahan told me that he learned from Greg Berhalter. Production meeting I had with him yesterday was learning how to be the CEO of everything. And GM Mike Jacobs is in place here in Nashville, and it's not the same responsibility for BJ as what Greg has, but BJ said it was the understanding of just knowing what everyone does, having a hand in everything going on within the organization, not micromanaging people, but just understanding
who
from
does
top
what.
to bottom what's going on.
Yeah.
That's something that Greg does. And Greg, formerly the head coach of the Columbus Crew, had a lot of success there before he was hired as the national team coach. He led the U.S. in the last World Cup in Qatar in 2022, and it just brings so much experience in this league. They have an open spot to add a big-time summer player. And again, we've talked about it throughout the season so far. Nashville has played teams at good times. This is another one.
Okay.
You want to get Chicago early. There have been rumors that Robert Lewandowski, the striker for Barcelona, like the Barcelona, who was at Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund in Germany for a lot of his career, Polish striker, there's rumors he may come into the club this summer. But they have an open spot to bring in a big, massive European talent if they want to. For now, that roster's not totally completed. So, personally, I don't think the Lewandowski signing makes a ton of sense because they already have Hugo Kuipers, who's one of the best young strikers in the league, the 29-year-old Belgian who's got 4 goals already this year, and they bought him for $12 million in 2024. They've got talent. They've got young talent. 2 new players from South Africa have come in. Mbakazi's a center back who's decent. I mean, they got good players. There's a little bit of the younger side and still figuring things out a little bit in the way all those pieces fit together.
Is there any fatigue you worry about with this team, or they got the right amount of old and young that carries them no matter what?
I think
because they're rolling.
You worry about that going into this stretch.
Okay.
And when you have Chicago coming up Saturday, and then you've immediately got to turn around and get ready for the biggest club in North America, in Club America, who's coming to town to play next Tuesday. The fatigue off of the international break isn't a concern for this Saturday. But that will start to multiply as you play America, you go to Charlotte, you go to Mexico City, you probably get back to Nashville at 3 or 4 in the morning, and I don't even know their travel plans. They may stay after that game because it's at 10:30 p.m. Central that they play Club America in Mexico City. But you're kind of missing a day the following Wednesday. Then you got to go to Atlanta. That's a big rivalry match against a big Southern regional rival. And then you actually will come back and play Charlotte right after that.
Yeah.
These are good problems to have. Nashville SC wants to be playing the best clubs in this region, in the world. They want to be in big games, and they're certainly in a bunch of them coming up. And Club America is the biggest brand this side of the world in this sport.
Let me ask you a question. Just looking at the difference in conferences, the Eastern Conference and Western Conference in the MLS, I didn't realize there was a LAFC and also the LA Galaxy.
Correct. LAFC won the league a couple years ago.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When did that happen? Because the Galaxy, I felt like, was the hottest team coming into the introduction to MLS when they first jumped out.
LA Galaxy's an original.
Yes.
They won MLS Cup 2 years ago.
Okay.
Of course, last year was Miami. Before that, it was LAFC.
Yeah.
And LAFC who beat Philadelphia in a very dramatic shootout.
2 different
Time.
franchises?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they started in 2018.
Okay.
They started with manager Bob Bradley. You might remember that name from past U.S. World Cups. He was the manager of multiple U.S. World Cup teams for the U.S. men's national team. His son, Michael Bradley, played for Toronto and for the U.S. Bald guy, had a crazy midfield goal against Mexico back in the day. Carlos Vela was the big name for them, former Arsenal winger, former Real Sociedad winger from Spain, but big Mexican international player. That's where Walker Zimmerman came from originally, was LAFC. LAFC is outstanding. They are the other team to beat. And I see backstage last Monday, Bradley Wright Phillips from Apple told us, like, he thinks Nashville is more of a team to beat than LA right now. LA has Heung-min Son, came over from the smallest club in England, Tottenham. And they also have Hugo Lloris, who also didn't have anything to drink when he was in London because he didn't have any cups at Tottenham. That was a little less on the nose because he did win the World Cup with France. But and they've got Denis Bouanga from Gabon, who is one of the biggest stars in this league and best goal scorers. So LAFC is fantastic. Yeah, Giorgio Chiellini, another guy that was there, Italian international. I'm going a little in the weeds here, but they're excellent. Nashville's excellent. Miami's still going to be right up there. The team that finished first in the regular season last year is 0-5-0. Philadelphia does not have a single point
That's
this
what
year.
I saw looking at
Winless
the
and
standings
pointless.
right now.
We really
man,
hate that for 'em.
For such a loud city. Couldn't be my soccer
And a
team.
loud team. And a loud team. So, anyway.
Good stuff, man. You gave more like a soccer dissertation, a presentation, man.
It was a soccer 5 minutes. How about that?
I'll take it.
Got more than you bargained for. Coming up, hour 4 of the program. And by the way, again, just so you know, tomorrow I will be on the call for that. Nashville, Chicago. I didn't ever give the time when it starts. 7 o'clock pregame and 7:30 the kick on the 104.5 The Zone app. And you can watch it on Apple TV. There you go. Brent Hubs joined us earlier this morning. We talked a little bit about the Vols quarterback battle. Faison Brandon getting some headlines for good reasons after this.
It's Ramon Foster for Medical House Calls. Good people, it's healthcare designed for your life. And absolutely mean it, man. They're available to you 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. I tell you those times because I want you to understand that they want to be your concierge to medicine and whatever you need. Those times from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. gives you the flexibility to take care of yourself. We sometimes just skip out on going to the doctors or just say, I'll make time for it later. Well, guess what? You can make time for it whenever you want to now. From your primary health care to urgent care, IV therapy, medical weight loss, they have it all for you. And this isn't just, hey, somebody is acting like doctors. No, these are real doctors and nurses that are coming by to assist you and to making sure that you feel as good as you need to, whether it be IV therapy, medical weight loss, or as I told you earlier, your primary care, whether you have to get your annual physicals, they can do that for you. And just the consistency of checking in on your health is most important. Everything you need from a full exam, treatment plans, and prescriptions if you need them written out as well. Go to the website, medicalhousecalls.com, or call or text them at 615-838-2375.
901, good morning, live from the Circus Sports Mid-Kentucky Down studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. Nashville Predators beat the LA Kings last night 5-4 in a shootout, taking 8 rounds to decide. Luke Evangelista netted the game winner. The Predators had goals from 4 different players, including Jonathan Marchessault, who tallied an assist as well in the win. But with the San Jose Sharks winning last night over the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Predators are still on the outside looking into the Western Conference playoffs. Since the Preds did not win in regulation, there is a 3-way tie for the second wildcard spot in the playoffs. The Sharks, Preds, and Kings all have 79 points on the season. 7 games remain. The Preds are back at it tomorrow night in San Jose to face the Sharks with a 9 o'clock puck drop. Women's Final Four starts tonight in Phoenix on ESPN with all 1 seeds. UConn takes on South Carolina at 6, and then Texas tips off against UCLA at 8 o'clock. The championship will be held on Sunday. Tomorrow night, the men's Final Four gets started on TBS in Indianapolis with 3-seeded Illinois taking on 2-seed UConn at 5:09, and then the top matchup of the night between 1-seeds Michigan versus Arizona with tip-off set for 7:49. You can hear the men's Final Four coverage right here on 104.5 The Zone. All of it starts tomorrow at 3 o'clock. For all your foundation repair, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Three hours down and 1 more to go on this Friday morning edition of Ramon and Will. Glad you're with us. Supposed to be a beautiful day in Nashville, but to be quite honest with you, if you woke up, you're having a beautiful day. If you woke up in Nashville, you're having an extra beautiful day. Or just in the great state of Tennessee.
Absolutely.
Because our audience goes from sea to shining sea, from lake to shining lake, maybe we should say.
No doubt.
From Mountain City to Memphis, this is Ramon and Will. 615-737-1045. He is the 11-year NFL vet, Ramon Foster. Justin Hawkins makes the show happen. I'm Will Bowling. Tennessee's scrimmage yesterday as spring ball continues a week out from the orange and white game. Is it fair to say, Ramon, that more gets achieved and done in closed-door scrimmages versus the one that's on TV in the orange and white game?
No, it does. The orange and white game is for theatrics. I mean, it's just a show. It's wrap you up and show you to the rest of our fan base. Look at the work we did. There's no real work that's shown other than you don't want to get embarrassed. And usually guys aren't out there trying to win a game on spring practices because nobody wants to have an off-season surgery. And the spring game is your last hoorah that you're going to have, and you're just simply just trying to make it out. The way it's always been described to us is this is a real good show for the fans, and nobody better be acting out on it. The practices, Will, where you mentioned the closed practices, that's where it really gets dirty. That's where tackling to the ground, the blitzes that you have to pick up, like guys actually trying to win reps happen in those days. I used to love them. I'll put it this way. Before we'd have those big scrimmages, and it's usually 2, maybe 3. The third one is usually the spring game. It was so much anxiety into thinking about it because that's where you won or lost your starting jobs to. The spring speaks loudly for what the fall provides to you, man. And there is just simply no other way around it. I never forget the summer of 2005 and in 7 is where I took my biggest steps as far as, the spring of 05 and 07 of solidifying myself into the player that I wanted to be because I can take you to the ground. Mm-hmm. I can dog you out every single play. There's no other opponent except for you, and you have to see me every single day, and I'm not tired of seeing you every single day because I'm trying to win a starting position.
I asked Brent Hubs earlier in the show about Faison Brandon's progression and asked how he has kept the gap, essentially, to be not a gap between himself and George McIntyre in a very real quarterback competition going on in spring practice. Brent had this to say.
Well, I think that Faison has managed the offense pretty well. Now, he's still got a long ways to go, and so does George. But, I think Faison's ability to manage early in his career to, execute the huddle, execute the run game pretty well, make decisions throwing the football. His talent's very obvious. I mean, he oozes with talent. He's got size. He can throw it. All of that's there. I think it's his ability to manage the game and how much he has grasped the offense early in his career is probably what has helped him. Austin Price, I have to give him credit, which kind of pains me sometimes, but I got to give him credit for this point yesterday. And it was a great point. We think of George being so far advanced mentally because he's been here for a year, but he really hasn't played. And he hasn't even practiced in scrimmage settings where there's really something on the line. Because he was not going to win the job last August. And I know he had the first scrimmage where he was going against 2s and 3s. He did some good things, and everybody kind of had some buzz about him. But the reality was he was never going to win the job. And so now he's in a place where he's going against the best on defense. He is playing for the job, but he really doesn't have that much more experience other than sitting in meetings than what Faison Brandon has. So there's a little bit of a misconception just that George entered with this great lead, and the thought now is that Faison has just closed the gap that much. The gap to start probably wasn't as wide as some of us created it to be or acted like it was or the perception of it was. But give Faison Brandon credit. I think the mental side of it is the best thing he has shown through 3 weeks of spring because everybody already knew the physical side was there.
That was Brent Hubs on the show earlier this morning. You can listen to that whole interview at the end of the show, wherever you download podcasts. Faison Brandon's making this really interesting, Ramon.
Yes, he is.
Really interesting. This is not one of those battles where you go through a battle just for the motions and know who's going to win it. And no one has said that was the case from the beginning. But at the same time, Faison Brandon and George McIntyre appear to be neck and neck right now for QB1 in Knoxville.
The way it is written up and the way some are reporting on it, some might give the edge to Faison.
Yeah. That's kind of the vibe I get, too.
Yeah.
Maybe he's ahead of where a lot of people thought he would be by this point of the competition.
I'm with Hubs. I thought initially this is a wide gap that has to be clear, like just walked down by Faison slowly over time, and not even this year because George has been there. You have the conversation of his athleticism, his ability to throw. I've seen him throw. He throws a real good ball. But then you read the War Room updates and just everybody's reporting on what they're hearing, because that's the other part too. We're all speculating and the conversations we're having or just getting secondhand information from either insiders and coaches, because Coach Heupel and most college coaches don't allow you to watch their practices live. So this is all the reporting that we're getting. Mm-hmm. I'll be quite honest with you. I'm a little shocked that this competition is as tight as it is. I figured with what George has seen and been through, and to be quite honest with you, the chip on his shoulder that he would have by the fact that they did go after Sam Levitt and others in the transfer portal before. I don't want to say they settled on him, but the reality was, okay, well, yeah, we're good with George McIntyre and Faison Brandon moving forward. I think it also brings up the conversation on why they went after the Colorado quarterback too as insurance.
Ryan Staub.
Seeing Ryan Staub be a part of this is more supporting. We'll say he's a part of the competition, and Heupel does as well. But I think you somewhat see where he's going to end up probably playing as a buffer between the two when it comes down to how this unfolds in the fall. I will speak for myself. I'm lightly shocked by this as well. Mm. Not that didn't think George would win it, but I just am shocked by the fact that Faison is as advanced as they're reporting him to be. That's the shocker to me.
I do think it's telling on one hand that when we asked Brent right off the top, what's the biggest headline coming out of the scrimmage yesterday, he started with the defense. Didn't start with the quarterback.
True.
So start with the defense. They appear to be a bit ahead of schedule on where people thought they would be. I would say that also probably contributes a little bit to the offense being behind, and for the quarterback competition being a bit disjointed. The reporting is that George McIntyre took too many sacks yesterday. Faison Brandon has showed off supreme physical traits and talent. Had a touchdown throw to Deshaun Brame that he apparently made a lot of guys miss on, and still threw a pick six as well to Idris Farouk, which, again, good sign for Vols fans. That's a guy that's getting better. I think the surprising thing to me is not that. All right. The surprising thing is the timing of this. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have been shocked if in the fall we were hearing reports that Faison Brandon was close or that he was impressing or turning heads. I think the surprising thing is how quickly he started to say or to do things that warrant that reporting.
Yeah.
Because you would have expected George to start a little bit faster and Faison, to your point, to slowly chip away. Every scrimmage get a little bit better. Last season, Joey Aguilar reportedly didn't have a great first fall scrimmage.
This is true.
By the time the next scrimmage came around, though, there was no competition. He was the guy.
Yeah.
He started a little bit behind as the new guy in the system. The other guy started a little bit ahead. Then he chipped away, and all of a sudden, he made a big leap. The next time they were on the grass in Neyland, and he won it back. That hasn't happened for George, where Faison's not way behind at the start. Faison's right there. You can't win or lose, I think, the battle in spring. That being said, you can set the tone on what fall is going to feel like. And you can put more pressure on yourself to perform at a high level. To me, that's what maybe George McIntyre has done to this point. He's put pressure on himself to really deliver as we get closer to week one with how well Faison Brandon has played so far. You're not going to win or lose a competition in April. I get that. There's so many people. You read the VolQuest message boards. It's all, okay, well, Faison's the guy. Here we go. No, I'm not close to saying that yet. Again, I overuse this phrase. It's a Mike Vrabel quote. Is this interesting or is it important?
Yeah.
Right now, it's interesting.
It's very.
Time will tell if it was important enough for Faison Brandon to actually win the quarterback battle.
And the reason, so I asked Hubs a question too, Brent Hubs a question too in the 7 o'clock hour about, okay, what is the rotation as well? I've seen guys get praised for working and doing real good with the twos.
Against walk-ons.
Against walk-ons.
Yeah, that's right.
And they're getting praised. I'm just like, Coach, this... Do you understand?
Of course he is.
Yeah, of course he is.
But they're rotating in and out against ones.
Rotating, and that's the unique part about this situation too. Is Faison, Brandon, and also George McIntyre working with the ones and rotating. They're seeing the wide receiver ones or the first team wide receivers. Jesse Perry, like you said, is a little banged up, but they got good depth that is playing and filling in his spot as well. The part to me that I think when you look at the war room write-up that Brent Hubs had is George taking sacks. Like, that to me is either, all right, well, did the offensive line lose quick? Does he know how to fill the pocket? If he is taking sacks, are these blind shot sacks that, hey, you got to give Jim Knowles credit and he firing him up a little bit more than he is at Faison at this point? Like, there's a lot of storylines to be had because I've seen coaches set up practices to where the younger guys get a little bit more grace. Hey, pull back a little bit. Let's see them before we throw them into the fire. There's that side of it as well. But the issue for is George taking sacks or not knowing when to get rid of the ball is this. This is where the weight comes into conversation. How much can you afford to get beat up if we're not going to throw the ball away or get it intercepted? We're going to take sacks. How many of those can you take? And then I also question, man, I'm going down this lane now. This offensive line is supposed to be, no, let me rephrase it. This offensive line better be.
Has to be the strong suit of the entire team to me. I know that Jim Knowles defense is. That and receiver.
Yeah. The Jim Knowles defense is going to play its part. It should be better. We expect it to be more concise, and they have assignments that they know how to get home with. But, oh well, tight ends, you guys are part of this sack equation too, unless George is just sitting back there patting the ball like he's playing patty cake or something, or whoever's that quarterback. That's where I'm of the conversation of the Coach Mac phrasing, keep your powder dry.
Yeah, it's early. Interesting, though. Interesting spring game coming up next week. A lot of interesting things happening at Tennessee spring practice, and it's the first time we've had this wide open of a quarterback battle.
Beautiful.
In a while.
Beautiful.
I mean, probably in spring, since it was Hendon Hooker the first time around, before Joe Milton even got on campus in 2021.
No doubt.
So, I don't know. We'll see.
It sounds like a good problem.
Great problem.
Sounds like a good problem.
My question is, and what I don't know, is this defense playing well and succeeding so far because this defense is just a lot better and Jim Knowles is there? Or is this defense looking good because the offense just isn't good with poor operation from quarterbacks? We're not at practice. We're definitely, no one's at the scrimmages other than staff. And so obviously hard to really say without seeing it. And even if we were seeing it, we talk about this every training camp. Like, is the Titans offensive line bad?
Right.
Or are they just having trouble blocking Jeffrey Simmons because Jeffrey Simmons is so good? Like it's a back and forth that you play this time of year when you're just playing yourself. I don't know if we'll get the answer on that for a long time. Is the offense struggling because the offense is struggling, or is it because the defense is that much better? Maybe there's a little bit of both going on.
And the other part behind it as well is this. You don't get a real sense of how good or bad you are, too, because I can get very familiar with the guys on the other side of the ball, especially in spring. It's 14 practices, whatever it is, too, or somewhere 15 practices, I think, including the spring game. And you don't get preseason games. That's one thing I hate about college is you just roll the team out. Now, you'll usually have a cupcake gang the first game of the season, or, if you're Texas, you go play Michigan or whoever else may be. But
Ohio State,
you don't know where you are in college until you really roll out the tape. And that's
you
one
get into
thing.
SEC play, too.
That's true, but that's what we learned about Hendon and Joe Milton as well. By the way, Tennessee Titans, Hendon Hooker.
That's right. Titans legend.
Titans legend, Hendon Hooker. Hendon was a gamer. Josh Dobbs
was a gamer.
And those types of things right there is where there's more to the storyline. But the fact that you have George McIntyre and Faison Brandon rolling in the same way, competing against one another, I think it's a good thing.
Iron sharpens iron.
It better.
No doubt.
And the O-line, quit giving up sacks.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I don't like that.
So I don't think we have Ron Slay coming up next.
So today.
Okay. Busiest man in showbiz is a little too busy today.
Yeah. It's his time of the year. It's his last hoorah.
That's true.
It's over from here.
One last dance for Slay. Dancing in Indianapolis.
But we'll have to talk about that, too. Is it okay to actually go to Indianapolis and watch this game, considering the setup on the stage inside of the stadium?
What do you mean?
I've heard it's a terrible viewpoint.
Every Final Four is a terrible viewpoint. Every single one. Yeah.
Wow.
Because they put it in the middle. They didn't used to do this. They used to put it in one side.
Yeah.
And then have a temporary grandstand where horizontally on the football field. And then have it on one side and have 40,000 seats. But money talks.
Yes, it does. And the best viewpoint inside of any of those football stadiums is halfway up, right?
Honestly, yeah, right. But not in these games. I went for the Elite Eight game when Houston crushed us last year. And that was when it was just halved, and it was still a terrible viewpoint.
It was?
You're way up there.
Why?
We were on the second deck, I think, of 4, because they didn't even open the fourth deck. You could go up to 3.
Legitimately, they can't plan this around Madison Square Garden. They can't go to Houston or...
You don't get as much money. Put it in a football stadium, you make more money, because the demand's there.
Yeah,
People will buy the tickets. They're just bad tickets. That is one thing, actually, that if and when Nashville and new Nissan Stadium can get a Final Four, everything is so compact in that building that if there is a football stadium that on paper looks like a really good fit to host the Final Four, it's Nashville.
Yeah.
This place would be awesome as far as football stadiums go because everything is so close to the field and slanted up so much in the stands.
That's crazy that basketball wants all this praise this time of the year and still got to use football facilities, huh? How about building your own little meccas, huh?
Coming up, let's talk a little bit of hoops. So we'll do a little Final Four preview and circle back to the conversation we had to start the show. Plus, LeBron James had some things to say about the city of Memphis and the Grizzlies, and he brought up Nashville in the process. We got a compliment. Memphis did not. We'll talk about that coming up next. And we're back. Quickly. On Ramon and Will. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling. Dealer's choice, Ramon. You want to talk about LeBron James disparaging Memphis or the Final Four? We'll do both.
We'll do both.
Who do you want to start with?
Let's start with, it's top of my mind. Let's go Bron. I see Duck in the YouTube chat. Memphis versus everybody. You're right. It is everybody.
Oh, yeah. Everybody else agrees, too.
The Lord giving his hardest battles to the city of Memphis right now, man. We've all had this conversation about Memphis versus Nashville versus Pro Team. I mean, you want to kind of lead it off a little bit, Will, with the conversation that LeBron had, man.
Yeah. So
LeBron
basically, LeBron James has gotten into golf, is where this all starts. And he took up golf as a big hobby. His swing getting better from everything I've seen.
I mean, he's got billions of dollars to get it better.
Yeah, he can get the best lessons in the world. Can't from Tiger Woods. He's a little out of pocket right now.
Yeah, it's a little too soon.
He can't from anybody else.
He's very memeable, too, speaking of breaking news.
Yeah, not great. So LeBron James did a golf video with Bob Does Sports. Great follow on YouTube. Bob Does Sports, hilarious YouTube golf content. If you're not familiar, the YouTube golf community has taken off.
What you mean?
Really since COVID. Guys that are not pro golfers who play golf together or do fun games, like, have become a spectacle in the sport. Like, to the point where some people would rather watch a YouTube golf, like a game between Grant Horvat and Phil Mickelson, more so than they would actually sit down and watch the PGA Tour. Like, I'm not in that boat, but there are a lot of people that love the YouTube golf world. And Bryson DeChambeau is a big part of it. Grant Horvat, Bob Does Sports, the Foreplay guys at Barstool, they do a great job. Kevin Kisner, who just joined that podcast. I love that podcast, my favorite golf show. So LeBron has gotten into golf. He did a round with Bob Does Sports, and they talk about a ton of stuff. And NBA people got this clip of LeBron James. We're not going to play it because it's laced with profanity.
Yeah, it is. He hates it.
He says, and I quote, about playing the Grizzlies. I'm bleeping 41 years of age. You think I want to do bleep in Memphis on a random Thursday? I'm not the first guy in the NBA to talk about this. You guys got to move the team. Go over to Nashville already. He then goes on to say, like, you got Nashville, they got Vanderbilt, they got what? They got a hockey team there, right? The
guy said,
the Predators. The guy goes, oh yeah, the Nashville Predators. Like, right, yeah, they got LeBron James, not a Memphis fan. To be fair to LeBron, people are going to make this a LeBron versus Memphis thing, and as they should. He stood very strongly on it. Ramon, this is not a new conversation.
It's not.
Kevin Durant went on a podcast talking about how it's the worst place to stay in the NBA. Is it Derek White with the Celtics?
Yeah, Derek White.
He's talked about it. Yeah. Anthony Edwards went on Caleb Presley's show and talked about it. Draymond Green twice.
Yep.
Has said, Adam Silver got to get them to move. Richard Jefferson, Kendrick Perkins. Like, LeBron James adding his voice to a bunch of people, Ramon, that do not want to travel to Memphis, do not want Memphis to be a part of the NBA. What was your take on this yesterday?
So here's one side of it, though, too. A lot of people are on LeBron's head. They're talking about his hairline. They're talking about, Jordan this, Jordan that. Here's what I would tell you for the folks that have a problem with LeBron saying this. I'm from West Tennessee. I love Memphis. I got a lot
Ripley born and raised.
I'm telling you, a lot of folks in Memphis, Tennessee. My fraternity brother is the mayor of Memphis, by the way, too. Shout out to Paul, man. He's got a lot on his plate with a lot of things going on, too. Paul Young is doing his best he possibly can there. It's just that when you look at where Memphis is, whether it is a political side, whether it is funding, whether it is, to be quite honest with you, the national stereotype of what Memphis is. The folks that are from West Tennessee, best Tennessee is what I call it. It's near and dear to my heart. They love Memphis. There's a lot of good that is in that city that I do think get underreported because of some of the bad stuff that goes on. And it's popular to do this about Memphis. What I would tell you is this for the folks coming for LeBron is this. There's just a different lifestyle that pro sports allow you to live. I have stayed in Memphis numerous times. I've stayed at the Peabody. I've stayed at that Westin. I've gone to games at FedEx Forum. I've sat courtside. I went and watched Golden State when it was the Big Three with KD. I'm giving you all of this, okay, by saying this. But what I will say, there's an upgrade that needs to happen. It just is. Where you stay in Chicago or in LA or in Dallas or Miami, it blows Memphis out of the water. I don't care what you think about LeBron's comments. You got to think this is, and I will be okay with saying this, a bunch of spoiled, bleeping grown men that get catered to at a higher rate than even the 0.5% of Americans, okay? They stay at places where they walk in, they got the key card, the beds are white linens, the food is tier 1, and the places you choose to go to is elite as well. Memphis hasn't caught up for whatever reasons to where Nashville is, to, if I can be honest, where Indianapolis is. Or we can go to any small market place, or just having the easiness of being able to go to Buffalo, New England, just go to a place that you want to go to. It is different. You have Anthony Edwards saying that he's gone in and had crap on his beds. Like, and then they argue with him. Like, it's fascinating. I was listening to, I think it was Richard Jefferson on a podcast, or it might have been Draymond one, and saying that in a random room, I think it was Andrew Bogus' room just got soaked from
the sprinklers turned on for the Warriors, and they had to leave and go to a different place because the sprinklers were just coming on randomly.
And they took no ownership of it either. Right. And it's problematic for that. Memphis got to clean it up. And I don't mean like just the government side stepping in or nothing like that. It's just the stereotypes of what they're providing and how they need to get more businesses in. I don't know the intricacies of Memphis's infrastructure like that. But having visited there and seeing some of the hotels, the selection isn't that vast. Nashville does have a ton more. I would say this, when you have stars that are coming out saying this the way they do, either something's happening behind the scene that the NBA is allowing this to happen, because you don't disparage your own franchises. I think it's a wrap, personally. I think the team, at some point in time, we've had conversations about Bridgestone. Bridgestone is formatted for NBA. Heck, they host the SEC tournament
and
here.
Being renovated to look even nicer.
To look even nicer. I don't think you're having that happen without the consideration of what Nashville could provide for an NBA team. I personally look at this, unless something happened, unless there's not a 180 but a 360 around the 901, the Memphis Grizzlies will end up being the Tennessee Grizzlies at some point in time.
Nashville Grizzlies.
Nashville Grizzlies. I think this is open and shut.
I'd be an NBA fan.
It's done.
For all the stuff I talk about, I've been open about it. Like, I don't watch the NBA. It's not for me. Partly because I have no team with a rooting interest.
Comment, Marciano. You do that, you kill the city. Yeah, just like they killed the city of St. Louis when the Rams left. This is what happens when your local powers to be get, I don't want to call them selfish, or bicker and complain and fight with one another like this. Like, yeah, you're one of the 30 teams that have an NBA squad. Legitimately, get it together. Like, and here's the other part, though. None of the people that make these moves care about killing a city. They just don't.
They care about business and what helps their bottom line, and the league facilitating something that the players clearly want.
Oh.
I'll say this before I go into much detail, because we make jokes about Nashville versus Memphis, and there is a rivalry between the two cities, and especially going to Tennessee. You meet people from Memphis, meet people from Nashville, obviously Knoxville. Like, there's just a certain type of rivalry within this city and that one. That does not exist between Knoxville and the other ones. Like, if you're from Nashville, there's no rivalry against Knoxville.
No.
There's a rivalry with Chattanooga. There certainly always has been with Memphis. I will say this, though, in respect for Memphis as a town, that is a basketball city. No question.
Yeah.
Memphis is a basketball town. This is becoming a sports entertainment town beyond the SEC football home base that it's been for generations. Nashville has become more of an NFL town.
Yeah.
It's become more of a hockey and soccer town. It's become more of a just have a good time town. Mm-hmm. Memphis is a basketball town. We would show up to NBA games here because we want to go to the next fun party and drink and have fun and be a part of entertainment and be on the scene, because that's what Nashville is.
That's what it is.
But there, it is basketball.
Yeah.
And
it's king.
First of all, it feels to me, just hearing from so many people, like the players want more of the entertainment side of it, not just the basketball side of it.
Mm-hmm.
I respect the culture and the soul of Memphis. I do.
I do too. It's beautiful.
Memphis has not sold out to a lot of the big national developers that have come into our city and made Nashville a different looking town. Now, granted, I've lived in Nashville my whole life. I would rather live here than there. No question. I'm obviously biased in that. I'm not complaining too much about Nashville, but I want to start with the positive and be unifying first. I mean, it's Good Friday, for crying out loud.
No
like,
doubt.
I want to bring people together more than I want to put them apart. And the rivalry thing with Memphis is fun, and it's funny, and it's fun to like talk about. But like at the end of the day, that is a city with soul and with culture and with generations of history and families that have stayed there and stuck around that have had to watch it decline over time. And that's sad. It is.
It is.
And a lot of that's out of the hands of the people who actually live there and call it home and are living that day in and day out. So I respect a lot the food culture, the music, the
people.
The people. Like, I respect the soul of what Memphis is. I also totally understand what all these players are saying. And especially in a world where money is just everywhere in the NBA. And you've got backup point guards making like starting wide receiver money that NFL players are making in the NBA. I don't say this as a dig to NBA players. I say it as a almost salute to their players association and getting them all paid as much as they have. I don't know if there's a more coddled pro athlete in America than the NBA player.
Almost worse than a diva wide receiver. I mean, seriously.
There has got to be no one more spoiled in this country than an NBA player. And again, that's not meant to be an insult.
No.
That's meant as like a good for you for getting paid. But also when you get paid $10 million to be like a role player,
Yeah.
of course you're going to be spoiled. I would be too. I don't make that and I am spoiled.
Straight up.
So I think you got to take those comments with that in mind, that like this is a group of athletes that is known more for what they don't do, more so than what they do, of not playing and load management and the injury stuff. And we got to make a rule that guys got to play 65 games in order to be eligible for awards. Like, that's the culture right now. And that's the prevailing thought that I get from someone that doesn't watch the league. That's what I think of when I think of the NBA. So I know that's long-winded. It's a roundabout way to say, like, I do respect a lot of that town and the soul and the foundation of it. And I also recognize there's a lot of truth to what LeBron and many other NBA players are saying about
You know,
it.
the other part, too, the Grizzlies have had a hard time. After Zach Randolph, I won't like, after him, right, on keeping their stars at the top of the mind of teams, too. Like, legitimately, it's been reported, I think it's on Unapologetically Memphis. There's there's a aggregate page on Instagram, and they follow everything Memphis. I follow it as well. Ja Morant has allegedly put his house on the market.
Yeah, I saw that too.
The other part of this is Ja not living up his end of the deal for Memphis in general. The whole gun pointing side of it, the whole issues that he's had with people in Memphis and around the city and too, like, it doesn't help the narrative that Memphis is trying to beat. And I know this instantly. Memphis is trying to beat these allegations of how they're perceived nationally, and he didn't help, is what I would say as well. I'm not blaming Ja, but he didn't help.
But
you
you
lose
can't
that star
as much
power.
as you blame him too.
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
the people around him, I think, have hurt his ability to move on and be a professional and be an adult.
Yeah, and let's talk about the other side, though, too. Like, the housing part of these pro athletes. Like, I just looked up real quick, like, Nashville's top hotels. There's a Four Seasons here.
There's everything you
Let's
could
just
ever
start
want.
there.
The JW, the Westin, the Grand Hyatt,
Conrad, like, you name it. The one, like, if
we've
you
come a
want to
long way.
And that's the part that makes Nashville attractive to an NBA franchise, is having that side of it. Like, because I'll be honest with you, just look at during our football seasons, like, the hotels that we stay in matter. I hated going to the Cleveland hotel, even though it was nice, but it was almost built up like a motel, and then we end up switching to another one as well. Like, the reality of it is, and it's unfair, but it's the expectation. It's a spoiled group of players in all sports. All of us are. From the time you land, you don't have to look at traffic, don't have to be in traffic. You got a charter bus everywhere you go. You got every ounce of protein and food that you ever need in your life.
Yeah.
You live in abundance. And that's what those NBA players are singing loud right now. And Adam Silver's going to listen.
And as bad as they've been recently, it's not as much of a statewide fan base, I think, as it used to be. Like, I knew a lot more Grizzlies fans here in the Tony Allen, Grit and Grind, Mike Conley, Zach Randolph
absolutely.
era. I don't really hear about that as much anymore. It also doesn't help when, like, again, Memphis doesn't like us either. Like, I feel like this has made a one-sided thing. Like, the sports scene, like, there are a lot of people in Memphis still angry that the Tennessee Titans are in Nashville and not in Memphis. I'm not breaking any news there. We can go back and relitigate that if we want to. And I remember during COVID when The Last Dance aired. Yeah. Remember there was the clip of Michael Jordan signing autographs, and somebody was like, "I'm from Nashville," and he was like, "I don't care about Nashville. Like, I'm going to Memphis."
Really? Yeah.
And
the
Grizzlies tweeted it out and was like, ball or something like that. I have a screenshot of it still. And they deleted it. And then they'll come on and be like, they'll do their Fox Sports South back in the day broadcast, like, Team Tennessee, watch the Preds and the Grizzlies. Like, different fan bases between the Preds and the Grizzlies. Like, as somebody said in our YouTube chat, like, never thought I'd hear the day to hear Will defend Memphis. Yeah, because it's not actually personal.
Nobody wants to see that happen in Memphis.
It's a fun rivalry, but, like, this goes beyond, like, a fun city rivalry. Like, to me, like, this is actually kind of sad.
It is.
The state of the city and the state of sports and the state of NBA players actively advocating for them to lose their team. Like, that stinks. That's a basketball town that has a fan base that deserves basketball. The fan base doesn't deserve this.
No.
In Memphis.
And they, to your point, they need this for the economy, for just the recognition of what they are. And I mean, if you take that away, you got FedEx, right? Like, it's, and I know there's a lot of other things in Memphis. You got the barbecue component to
renovating
it too,
the Liberty Bowl, finally.
They are. And Memphis Tigers football is elite. It has been. Some would argue, like, heck, like, they've been more consistent than almost any other team in the state. I'm getting to that point of just, like, nobody wants this from Memphis that is from this state. The rivalry that we have back and forth, to your point, Will, is fun. But snatching a professional team out of that city because now you got more superstars that don't want to play in the city, not even for a night.
They got to make it work.
It's sad.
They got to find a way to make it work. That's a basketball town.
And I was in more than basketball I was football growing up. If you wanted to be solidified as a basketball player, you go play in Memphis. Like, that's what they do.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they do.
Absolutely.
It's the biggest star. And here's the other part, too. Memphians love LeBron. This hurt them to hear that.
And that was one of my first thoughts, too, of, like, imagine how many kids grew up in Memphis. Kids, adults, because he's been playing for so long. How many people in Memphis grew up idolizing LeBron because they love him and heard that yesterday. Like, that part of it stings.
That stinks.
For sure. So, anyway, interesting.
I didn't think we'd be having that conversation
No, I
today.
didn't either. I mean, again, like, Nashville has gone up, Memphis has gone down over the last 25 years?
I remember in high school, Memphis was the most populated city, I think, in Tennessee.
It was.
This was around early
bigger market,
2000.
Yeah, bigger city. You walk around downtown during the day.
Don't.
Like, in daylight on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Not much going on.
I rode through there for a baseball tournament one time.
Yeah.
And it gave big town feelings.
It's sad. It gave ghost town feelings, too, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it did.
Coming up, UConn, Illinois, Arizona, Michigan. Final thoughts on the Final Four next. Wrapping up the show on Ramon and Will. A quick deep breath we get to take real quick before we come back.
Hey, we got a deep breath.
A quick breath.
Yeah.
For 1 minute off, and then we're right back in.
I had one of my good friends
I
hit
think if
me
we
up.
let the music just continue to play, it'd be longer than the break.
It would be. I had one of my good friends from Ripley hit me up, Joe, and he pretty much he was like, well, y'all get to this Memphis thing. He's like, I got to go into work real quick. And he lives here
Zone
now.
Podcast Network, wherever you download podcasts.
He lives here now as well, too. Like, that's the other thing, too. A lot of my West Tennessee folks are migrating to Nashville. You know how many Lauderdale County folks that live in Nashville area now?
I believe it.
But he also says, like, it's a good business move. Like, most West Tennessee folks might tell you that, even though they hate to see what could happen to the Grizzlies. We should have did a poll of what name should we name the Grizzlies moving forward.
Mike in Cleveland on YouTube says, LeBron from Akron says no to Memphis. That's a headline. To be fair, too, there's not an NBA team in Akron. If there was, a lot of people would be saying the same thing.
This is billionaire LeBron you're talking about now, too. Billionaire LeBron is way different.
On the Cleveland front, though, honestly, when we went up there to play the Browns this year, it was fine. It had some fun areas to go downtown. We found a place, watched the Big Ten championship that night. Like, I don't know.
Cleveland's a hub. I crap on it because of my AFC North hate, but Cleveland's a very nice city.
The weather stinks, but that's the case for most of the Midwest.
But the downtown area is developed. It's nice.
Yeah, it's not bad.
They're by a nice port, if I'm not mistaken, too. Cleveland, for a long time, was a major importer of, like, I would say this is what kind of gets me. Like, they have a Lamborghini dealership there, a Rolls-Royce dealership there. Like, they are nice hotels. Listen, I talk to my advisor all the time about the cars that I can and cannot buy. Rolls-Royce would mess up my financial plans for the long term. I'm just a $300,000 car that depreciates.
Don't let facts get in the way of a good
It's very
option.
true. You know what they say? It's not a matter of getting the money; it's holding on to it.
All right, speak for yourself. Getting Lamborghini money, yeah, there's a problem with that.
I have that type of bread, but I don't want to spend it on a Lambo that I'm probably going to get 5 drives out of and sell it again. So. But my point of that conversation is you do have to cater to the teams that you're a part of. Like, Buffalo, to me, is probably a city that you can choose to crap on. But what Buffalo Bills are to their community and the history that they've had, and it's a
Bills town.
Exactly.
Memphis is a Grizzlies town.
You you get in and you get out of Buffalo.
Yeah.
And I think people that want to go to a Buffalo Bills game enjoy what that city presents to you as well.
Right.
Like, that's probably a bad comparison for some people that heard me say this, but I think if you go to Buffalo and see what it's about, you'll see why that city hasn't chosen, or that team hasn't chosen to leave and won't.
Tweeter says, at Ramon and Will, $Tion says, as a Memphian, shout out to at Ramon and Will for the support of Memphis on Nashville radio this morning. A real detailed conversation, super fair and honest. They get it and see the bigger picture. Thank you for listening.
Appreciate you chiming
Listen,
in with
the
us.
rivalry is what it is between the cities. Like, it's a fun thing to kind of joke around about to me, but like, this kind of goes beyond that. I feel like this was, I understand it from the NBA players. I do, but also I would hate it for them to have the thing that makes them a sports and basketball town taken away from them.
Yeah.
Fans don't deserve that.
It's hilarious, too, that one of our main commenters, Duck, says, Memphis got barbecue, Duck. Well, you do more than just Memphis got barbecue. By the way, I went to the Rendezvous last time I was in Memphis.
It's kind of fallen off, hasn't it? Yeah, I know. I think it's got new ownership. Before I went to see you play at Ole Miss when you were at Tennessee, I went to Rendezvous the Friday night before we drove to Oxford to watch Tennessee Ole Miss. And it was like, you know how as a kid, you go to a restaurant and you go there once, like out of town, and you fantasize about that restaurant forever. Like, I remember going to the big barbecue place in Memphis. It was like heaven. That was Rendezvous for me. Like, I went there. What year would that have been? 05?
05. Yeah.
I went there in 05. And it was just like, I was like, I'd think about it. And then I went back a couple years ago. I was like, oh, this does not feel like the same kind of place.
The service was...
I've heard Memphis people say, like, no, unfortunately, I think it's under new leadership and it's fallen
Central,
off a
there's
little bit.
way other places around the city that you can go to get better barbecue. And that Memphians will tell you that as well. It's like, you mentioned Rendezvous, they're going to be like, what?
Duck says Rendezvous's never been good. Now, I'm not going that far.
It had an era.
No, it definitely had an era.
It had an era, though. You can't
Definitely
say
had
that.
an era.
Now,
I went once, and it depends on if you like sauce or dry rub. If you don't like sauce,
Porque no los dos.
then you'll like the dry rub that Rendezvous has.
Okay.
But if you prefer sauce, don't go there because they don't have sauce on the ribs.
I do think they
get on
went
the side?
commercial and they got
You
big.
could get on the side.
Rendezvous got big too. I will say barbecue.
It was funny last night. The Lakers were down 31 at halftime,
Central.
and they lost by almost 40 points to the Thunders. So I said, man, those OKC hotels must be awful.
Oh my
that's funny.
gosh, man.
That's very funny.
But again, man, I said as a West Tennessean, shout out to Memphis. I hope whatever this campaign is of NBA players, what do you even call it, Will? Like, they're just very opinionated about what Memphis provides to you. And I didn't realize they walked over to the arena. I heard somebody got robbed.
Yeah.
A player got robbed. I'm like, golly.
Illinois and UConn tomorrow night at 5:09. We're both on UConn, right?
We both on
Huskies
UConn?
over Illinois.
I'm actually picking Illinois.
I got Illinois in my final.
Yeah, Illinois.
Do you?
Illinois versus Arizona.
How's bracket camp?
It's good. I'm at the top of the bracket, so
I was
I'm looking down at everybody.
It took you way longer to say that on the show than I thought it would.
Yeah.
But well done to you.
Salute you.
We'll talk
You
on
and I
Monday,
are in the top.
guess.
We're both in the top 5.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And I'm winning my
trash
family's
out
bracket,
here.
too.
Okay. All right. That's
Boo, that's enough.
What
out
else
of
would you like me to
That's
tell you?
enough. No. I just think Illinois has played so well defensively. I think Danny Hurley, with more time to prep, I think he carves them up. I think Illinois is due for a little bit of a regression to who they are.
Okay.
Really good three-point shooting team. Good defensively, not great defensively. I just think they're kind of due to take a little bit of a step back. Arizona, Michigan. I had Arizona originally. Arizona's my national champ.
I got Arizona.
I think Michigan wins.
I got Arizona.
I'm flipping on that one.
I know. Sorry, Keto, but I got Arizona. By the way, you supposed to mention this, man. This player, 6'6", 306 pounds, man. That 6% body fat Nigerian football player is an absolute freak.
I'm
of
glad
an
you brought
athlete.
this up because we were talking about this in the break.
Lord,
Is this the best athlete in the world right
in
now?
the world, yes. In the world, in the world, Craig, is what I'm telling you.
Up there with the decathletes, who are the
Bruce
best
Feldman
athletes in the world.
tweeted it out.
Uar Bernard is an NFL prospect who grew up in a Nigerian village, and he performed at the NFL's HBCU showcase. Listen to these numbers: 6'4.5", 306, 11-inch hands, 36-inch arms, 6% body fat, 39-inch vertical, 10-10 broad jump, and he ran a 4.63 at 306 pounds. This is not like the high school coaches are like, yeah, I got a kid that can run a 4.4. No, this is like an actual showcase that he's running a laser-timed 4.63 at over 300 pounds. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Don't let Philly get him.
Oh, my goodness.
That's what it's going to be.
Day 3 prospect,
Yeah.
apparently.
Philly, this is a Howie Roseman pick if there ever was one.
I mean, what are we talking about?
This is a Philly pick if I've ever seen it.
Anyway, name to remember, Uar Bernard. Hopefully a Tennessee Titan soon. Back at it on Monday morning.
Yay.
Looking forward to that. Brad Crawford will be here. We'll talk some more SEC
Brad.
spring football. Stoney Keeley will join
Stoney.
us. Next Thursday, we're 2 weeks away from the draft.
We are.
Titans will be on the clock at pick 35 2 weeks from tonight. Ramon Foster. That's a good way to send you into the weekend.
It is. Y'all know how we roll, man. Going into this weekend, call your people, check in your folks. Maybe check in on your West Tennessee folks, man. Have a random conversation with somebody. Buy somebody a random drink if you got extra coins, man. I tell y'all, we're more alike than we are different, man, no matter what they tell us, man. But ELE at the end of the day, man. Everybody love everybody. See y'all on Monday. Peace.
And stop at crosswalks.